This is Philip Roy playing the Doctor.
And I'm Mandy Rose and I play Jenny.
For the Doctor Who fan film, Doctor Who Meets the Scorpion, this is the Type 40 podcast.
It's time for Type 40 Live, materialising right here again with the live stream Doctor Who magazine show across your view screen in real time on YouTube, Rumble and on Facebook, always in front of a live chat full of friends, fans and companions just like you. Thanks for being here, everybody, to start off another week. Okay, where are we? What's going on? Oh, yes, this is it. Doctor Who. Everybody getting into it with all the latest Doctor Who news, the past, the present, and the future. With me, Dan Hadley, Birmingham's king of the geeks, and my pals, panelists, and a special guest for you this time. So yes, and you've got to remember, if you're watching over there on Facebook in the Type 40 Facebook group, you've got to hit that little blue link, and then Facebook tells StreamYard who you are. StreamYard tells us you know the dance. You know the dance by now. Okay, what's happening? Yeah, well, we are back again with more space and time talk, or time and space talk. You can sort of switch those around to wherever you prefer them, really. Another early edition. We'll be catching up, geeking out, spilling the tea and taking the pee wherever we need to, so stay tuned as always. It's not quite so much about you this time. You can get back in your box for the time being as we cozy down somewhere. Yes, at least the seating here, at least there's proper seating in the 2005 console. Or at least enough for my guests, which includes our mate is returning. It's the lifelong Doctor Who fan and our new regular travelling companion around these parts lately. We've got John Yordan back.
Hey, how you doing, mate? You all right?
I'm good.
What a fantastic way to start a Monday evening, eh? Talking about Doctor Who. Let's go.
Yeah, well, it's sort of comfy in here, isn't it? You know, you've got to put a bit of gaffer tape.
Cozy. Yeah.
Gaffer tape in there, but...
That's it. Flick a few switches, go for it.
I'm afraid, yes. So does that count as a three-seater?
Depends how big you are.
I'd say that's a three-seater, as it's quite a way back. Yeah. But I noticed there's only one headrest, which I think is a little bit weird.
It is a bit bizarre. Yeah, you don't want to doze off on that. You fall right over the back, wouldn't you?
It's like when you go to family parties and, you know, there's a few too many people there and everybody ends up fighting for space. Yes, somebody ends up on the camp chair towards the very back of the room, away from the nibbles and away from the bird you've got your eye on.
and they just look broken.
That's it. Oh yes. Starting off the week talking about Doctor Who. Yeah, I completely agree with you. What could be better?
Absolutely.
I've got a special guest for this one, a returning guest, no less. Now, he treads the boards and lights the lights. He sings, he dances, but to the best of my knowledge, John, he's never worn a kilt yet, but I'm sure we'll find out when we bring on, back to the show. I think this is his third or fourth time back. We have Adam Martyn back on Type 40 Live.
Hello once again. Hello, Dan. Hello, John. Hello, everybody watching. It's good to be back.
Good to see you.
Fantastic to see you, mate. How's 2024 shaping up for you so far?
It's shaping up all right. Yeah, I had a bit of downtime in the early part of the year, after pantomime, which took which took a
Yeah.
lot out of me, but was very rewarding. I think panto's it's quite magical, really, isn't it? Because yes, you're doing really silly things, you're making a fool of yourself, but getting the response from the crowd is always fantastic. So I had a bit of a rest, but straight back into it, working on YouTube. I've recently, the week just gone, did a
Yeah.
performance in Lancaster, lovely Lancaster. I'd never been before, lovely little city, and did a performance
Right.
of some new children's theatre with my lovely partner Rebecca, just at like a
Oh,
scratch night
fabulous.
sort of thing. That was lovely. But 2024 is about to get even better though, because next month I'm heading off for the most important event of the year, which of course is the Eurovision Song Contest. I'm off to Sweden with Rebecca. We're seeing the 2 semi-finals in Sweden. She got me the tickets for my birthday. She won't tell me how. It's probably best I don't know how. But yes,
The black market.
well, again, she won't tell me. But yes, it's very exciting. It's always been I know people can dog on the contest, and that's fine. It's not everyone's cup of tea, but it's always been like a bucket list thing to attend an actual Eurovision. I did try last year when it was in Liverpool, but it was nigh on impossible to get tickets. So yeah, very happy to be going to Sweden, which it had to be in one of the most expensive European nations this year, didn't it? Looking at the local prices, I thought, the equivalent of £10 for a pint of beer. That's painful.
I mean,
Dan.
it's a fabulous gesture, isn't it? It's kind of romantic and it's a very sweet thing to do for the important, significant other in your life. But I have to say, Adam, you must be smarting a bit, because this does mean you may be there for Eurovision, but you're going to miss Whorevision. That's, of course, the night that Doctor Who launches back on the telly.
Yes,
Yeah.
well, I think she was a bit strategic, because the semi-finals are a bit before, and I think we land. When do we land back in the UK? We land on the 10th at about 11 p.m. So getting out needs to be nice and swift, because I need to be out of that airport for midnight. I'll be watching it in the taxi on the way back home, probably. No, but I mean, my stance on it, because I know it's been quite divisive with everybody. My view is, I'm probably, if I'm awake at midnight on any of the weeks, I'll watch it. But if I'm not, I'll probably watch it over breakfast. The next day, have a bowl of Weetabix and watch Doctor Who. What's not to like? So that's probably my route. I'm not sure. What are you guys doing? Are you midnight watching, or are you going to wait till the next day?
You must be joking. Which, like you said, isn't it? It's divisive and it's revolutionary. It's just all a little inconvenient. And obviously, with your channel on AMTV, the various videos that you make, you look at, I wouldn't necessarily say the minutiae of television, but you're very much sort of about the changing fads, aren't you, that have come and gone over the decades, how the things that we sort of take for granted as viewers, like idents and ratings, how those have changed, the patterns and things like that. So you're going to be watching this with great anticipation, aren't you? And that kind of geeky side to your nature, because it is going to completely change the game.
Oh, yes, absolutely. I mean, like you said, in terms of viewing figures, we've always viewed it throughout Doctor Who's history. Sure, like the meaning behind the numbers has changed over the decades, but it's relatively been, the same process. You get the overnight figures, and in the last 20 years, we've had the 7 days and the 28 days. It's always roughly been that same collation. But now with the midnight launch, how are those numbers going to be factored in? And obviously the international audience as well, which we know for Doctor Who, particularly in the I guess since Matt Smith's era onwards, there's always been that international, that growth of the international fan base, I should say. It's always been there, but it grew in the last 10, 15 years. I'm curious to see how it does internationally, because that's the main reason this is happening, isn't it? The whole Disney Plus deal, and that was probably a concession on their part. They're probably like, yeah, we'll give you money, we'll give you support, but you've got to give us, I think it was, and I admit, I'll hold my hands up, I think I naively said this, when it got announced that Disney Plus was getting involved, I think I sort of said, oh, but they're giving all control to Russell, they're not going to, the mouse isn't getting their mitts on it, sort of thing. I think that was a bit naive to say that,
I said the same for the most part.
Yeah, but I guess in business, there's always tit for tat, isn't there? Do you know what I mean? There was no way they just give the money with no sort of potential dividends. So I guess it makes sense. Yes, it's not convenient. And I mean, I said, people said to me, why are you not more like angry about this? And I just sort of said, well, that's business. And if you ask me, would I prefer it to go out at 6 p.m. on a Saturday? Of course I would, but Disney Plus ain't going to listen to me, so, or any of us, So
It depends how you define angry as well, though, doesn't it? John, because you know you can get kind of aerated about these things and huff and puff for a little while, and some things are, even as regards pop culture, there are things that are kind of worth getting angry about or venting one's spleen about, but something like this that none of us can do anything about probably isn't one of them.
Can't fight change, can you? And howl into the wind. You just gotta accept it and watch it when you can. Really, I mean, at my ripe age now, I don't think I'm going to make it past midnight. So I think I'll be doing a 10 o'clock in the morning sort of view.
Yes.
Yeah, I can't in all seriousness stay up till 2 or 3 in the morning watching Doctor Who. No, it just doesn't work for me at all. And the other things that I do on Saturdays and things, you know, it'll be whatever it will be. We shall see. Okay, and filling out our panel, I'm happy to say we do have someone else. I can hear the unmistakable pop of a can of Pringles. So I know that means that she is present, because they're never far from the side. Why is she looking at me like that? It could have been so much worse, Sharp.
It could have been so much worse. Why is there? There's a poll. No, it's fine. There's a pause screen on there. I love how much the Pringles has taken off. So if anyone is not watching Doctor Who with wait, what am I trying to say? Watching Doctor Who without Pringles, you're doing it wrong. Hello, everyone.
What's the point?
What an intro.
Where's the Pringles sponsorship for our show?
Exactly.
Oh, yeah, bollocks. Yeah. I'm doing so. I just swore already. I'm only 5 seconds in. I'm doing Coke Zero instead.
You can only say bollocks after 15:15. Otherwise
Have I missed the watershed? Oh, God.
Oh, that's
okay. I know, I don't.
Again.
Just take me back off, Dan.
Have you had a good weekend, Sharp?
Oh, it's been lovely. It's been delightful. Thank you so much. I'm so busy. You can't see. It's kind of just out of shot, but there are boxes piled everywhere due to the move. I think I've told all of you about it already, and I've actually not shut up about it. I've been chewing this one's ear off about it actually anyway, so I know that much. But yeah, I'm very much looking forward to it. It's just a lot. But other than that, no, I haven't done anything actually, because all my money's going on moving. So enjoy it. So yeah, Coca-Cola, if you can sponsor at any time, this is the time. I'm skinned.
Absolutely fantastic stuff. Yes, Sunday was a bit of a wet one here in Britain, wasn't it? I don't think that's any secret. A true April, and they say that climate change is a thing. Everybody, we've had April showers, and the weather hasn't really known what to do with itself for a little while. I was out running Sunday afternoon, as always, whilst in the capital. An estimated 50,000 people took part in this year's London Marathon. Now, anybody who needs a reminder of the kind of things a real hero says and does need look no further than our very own Christopher Eccleston. Nobody can ever say that he's all talk. He's been a runner for many, many years now, like 20, 25 years, I understand. And this weekend, he took part in the London Marathon. Now, this was all in aid of the big issue. Did anybody catch this?
No, I didn't see this.
No, yeah, I knew he was a keen runner, but oh, sorry, Adam, go on.
No, so I saw he did a little video, I think after he finished the run, just thanking everyone who donated and the cause it's for, because he's always been a big supporter of the big issue and, you know, trying to tackle homelessness in the country. So yeah, it's just great to see him do it, you know, as they say, amongst I know he's not the only celeb to do it, but, you know, nice to see amongst the people running alongside for a cause he believes in.
Is he running along just about to say someone, what's wrong with this shirt?
Bright red, just in case you miss him. Now, he said, this is a quote from Chris Eccleston. He said, "I've just turned 60 and my plan is to run the London Marathon for the big issue. The last one I ran was when I was 50, so my plan is to run at 60, 70, 80, 90 and 100, and then I'll retire." He says he's been an ambassador for the big issue since 2020 and was first on the magazine's cover in 1996. So that was probably something to do with, I think, was he in the film Shallow Grave around that time? I know he was making some big movies then, and Our Friends in the North, that kind of thing he was in. He says, "I am running for all those people who face barriers to work that the big issue supports to help them escape poverty for good." It's a noble cause that he clearly believes in, and we do have this video up on screen of Chris addressing...
I want to thank you all personally. Some people put in incredible amounts of money and some people put in just what they could, and everything is equal. It's really emotional and it's what gets runners round is the sponsorship. So thank you very much. We are trying to get people off the streets, we're trying to get a roof over their head, and we're trying to lift them out of poverty. So thank you very much to all of you. Thank you.
Oh, what a guy.
What a hero. And there he is. There he is with the spoils, Sharp. Bring home the spoils.
Oh, we should spoil us by coming back, but it's all good. I'll get over it one day.
I know, it hurts, doesn't it? After all those years of not seeing much of him, suddenly he's everywhere, and you're like, I want him back. I want him back in the show.
I know. But you know what? Fair enough. Yeah.
For 20 odd miles at a time. You've worked with Christopher Eccleston, haven't you, Adam?
Yes, I was very lucky to do 2 Big Finish audios with him. We did Red Darkness and The Green Gift, and it was a joy from start to finish. I might have said it before on the show, so forgive me if I'm repeating myself, but everything people who've worked with him...
myself every week, mate.
Oh, that's fine then. That's great.
We get the same jokes every week, don't we,
Sean? He is literally... the everyman. There's no pretense about him. There's no sense of ego just because he's done big projects in his career. He doesn't sort of use that to boast to everybody else. He is the loveliest man, and he made the recording process, for me at least, very easy, because of course coming into it, obviously being a fan, and he was my first Doctor Who, that
Really?
9-year-old Adam was screaming internally that this was happening. But again, he just he comes up to you, shakes your hand, and he starts talking to you about, the most normal thing in the world, how was your journey here, all that sort of stuff. And within about 5 minutes, any sort of nerves I might have had dissipated entirely. And the whole working day, especially that first one, because that was still when COVID was prevalent. And for that one, there was only myself, Harky Bambara, who plays Callan's dog Doyle, and Chris in the studio. So it was just the 3 of us. But by the end of it, we had such a lovely camaraderie and banter, because Harky's originally from Leeds, so we were joking it's like 2 Yorkshiremen against the Lancashiremen, and there was all that going on. He's a lovely man. Lovely, lovely man.
And if he says run for your life, Shah, you believe him, don't you?
Oh, 100%. My God. It's so funny, though, because just hearing, Adam say, 9-year-old, and that's exactly me as well, where I look at him. When I go on a rewatch, I'm like a kid again, just sort of discovering it all over again. And if he says run, then but I won't want to run against him, because that guy, I can't run to save my life. So, for a 60-year-old to do that, and I can't run to the end of his driveway, it's good. It's just good to see him, isn't it? It's just good to know that he's not one of these that just disappears into the abyss. He does come back, and we get to see him
also,
in different media.
Speaking of somebody who's been a runner now for several years myself, I can honestly say that with Chris very publicly speaking about his mental health struggles, running is very, very good for one's mental health and general state of well-being, as well as cardio fitness. And I just like to see him looking well. I like to see him investing in the things that he believes in, speaking his mind with complete conviction and with warmth. I think that's what a real hero, and that's what a real hero is. And the idea, if he makes you two feel like kids again, I love that. It's so sweet. I mean, talking about feeling like a kid again. For over a decade, the comedy series The Big Bang Theory celebrated and took the piss out of, well, us. Generally folks like
pretty
us.
Much.
And whilst few would argue that show stayed around a little longer than it needed to, the prequel spin-off thing, Young Sheldon, based around, this is the upbringing of Jim Parsons' character on that show, wasn't it? This has been running for 5 seasons now, which amazed me because I only caught the pilot the weekend just gone. But in America, this very weekend, they just aired this extraordinary crossover. I don't know if you've seen this. So it's all part of just the standard episode and the usual kind of thing they used to do on Big Bang Theory.
I can do this. My body may have been weak, but my mind was strong. I just needed to think about this situation in a different way. Instead of a porta potty, it was a TARDIS. Instead of Sheldon, I was Doctor Who, whose urine was ready to travel through space and time. For those who aren't familiar, the TARDIS is bigger on the inside. This one, however, was smellier on the inside.
I can't do this.
Fair.
I'm several years behind on this show, but I'm going to catch up with it now. I really enjoyed the pilot episode. I thought, and obviously I've just seen the first episode with 5 seasons in. That actor looks considerably older now. But knowing that Sheldon was a Doctor Who fan,
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I think, well, why did I not realise this? There was the odd reference in the original show, but I love the fact that it's Sylvester that gets the nod here, John, rather than Tom, as is usually the case in American shows.
Oh yeah, brilliant! And I really do hope they do what they did with Big Bang Theory and have him having a dream sequence with someone. You could easily get Sylv into an episode to do a dream sequence.
Do it
with Sheldon. Brilliant. Do it.
Do you watch Young Sheldon, Adam?
I must say I don't. When the Big Bang Theory was on, I didn't really take to it. I know the whole point of it, as you say, is to basically take the mick out of people like ourselves. But I think at the time, I just sort of I rejected that. I was like, no, this isn't what we're like. When I'm sure some of it is, if I went and rewatched it now. So I didn't really follow Big Bang Theory or this. But as you say, this clip, it's great that it's Sylvester's Doctor rather than Tom Baker's, and the fact we get to hear Kev McCulloch's theme, which in my humble opinion, Kev's theme is the best version of the Doctor Who theme we've ever had.
Really?
Yes.
Claim, young man.
Yes.
That is a bold claim.
Ever since I first heard that, I was like, that's it. That is Doctor. I think it's got everything. It's got excitement, it's got a bit of mystery, like the bit of the scare factor to it, and of course it's absolutely drowning in 80s synthesizers, which is right up my street.
He really goes at it, doesn't he? He gives him a good old thrashing.
Oh, absolutely. So the fact, just hearing that in like a mainstream American comedy show, that makes me smile. So yeah, I'll give points to Young Sheldon for that, but I don't think I'll be tuning in anytime soon.
How about you, Shaw? Do you watch that show?
Never. When you sort of turn the TV on when you've woken up in the middle of the night and you can't get back to sleep and it's just on. That's the only time I've ever really caught it, and I've never given it a chance. And if I'm being honest, when I even have and just sort of had it in the background or something, I've never really found it that funny. I've just got a way drier sense of humour. But I understand what it's going for, so I totally get it, and I understand why it's so big. But that clip alone could get me into it. You never know. It might open my whole world up into Young Sheldon. But I didn't even know that was a thing. I didn't even know that there was a young. Who's the old Sheldon? The really geeky guy. This is so out of my remit. But
it'd take too long to explain. I think we're talking about 11 or 12 seasons of some old show. While Shaw is googling the Big Bang Theory, make sure you put TV show. Don't do what I did. While Shaw is off googling that, we're going to catch up with our friends and companions in the live chat and see what they make about all of this. No, I don't intend to.
The only way you can help save the universe is by watching Type 40, a Doctor Who podcast.
Calling out across the universe to everybody there in the live chat on YouTube, Rumble, and on Facebook to say how do to.
Oh, there he is. Always nice and early as well.
He's bang on with his trusty wrench stroke spanner. We call them spanners here, my friend. Spanners.
Can I just say, someone once has now deemed it, when I'm modding in the chat, the Ramble Hammer, which I'm absolutely on board with. So you're welcome. No, thank you. I meant that's the wrong one.
Can I also just address the chat as well and say that there's no product placement going on here because Shah's got a Coca-Cola, I've got a Diet Coke, and Adam's got a Pepsi. All right, so there's a Type 40 branding going on.
Someone take a screenshot right now of all of us. Get on it. Get in. John, get your thing. Get your Diet Coke. There we go.
Please sponsor the show. Please. Yeah. Should we do what they do in the adverts? This is the typical soft drink advert. You ready? Here we go. So they sit down and they go, like that, don't they? They always sit like they've just had, like that.
With a Diet Coke, I haven't got the hair for it, but they go.
There's no very sexy men in your Diet Coke advert in terms of background characters either. I'm not talking about you specifically, but in general.
I'll do the call out, Shah.
Yeah.
It's the kind of satisfaction and relief that only a dry fart can bring. Time Lord 2023 says, so excited for the new series. We've got Big Prick in the comments. Of course we have. A quiet week then.
Congratulations. Oh, congratulations.
Hello, says Starry-Eyed Girl Sarah Graham. Good to see you there in the live chat, Sarah. Hope you're having a good day. We've got, who else is kicking around? We've got Rob Alexander too. Good evening, everyone. How are we tonight? Well, we're in fine form, I think, Rob. How are you? How are you? In fact, you ought to let us know how you think we are. I think that's how it should work. Yeah, got lots of hellos all around. That's Gaz the man. He's in as well. Hi, Gaz. Good evening, all. That's short and sweet. No, there's no fat on that one, is there, Adam? No fat.
Short and sweet. Nice and succinct.
Yeah. Do you need much more? That's you, John. What are you doing there?
Travelling in time and space again.
I know.
Yeah. Hello, everybody, says Cybermat Strikes. He strikes.
Yeah.
Strikes again.
Psychics Beats is also in the house. Good to see you here. Matthew Butterfield too. Sock it to us, Dan. What do you want?
Oh, these are getting newer. What? Every week there's something different. I love it. Are you going to sock it to us or what?
They're going to ask me to do shout-outs next and all that kind of shit. What do you think this is? Geeks and gamers. I don't sock anything to anybody. Evening all says... You can't ever say anything to me ever again after you gag it.
You're the one who brought it up, so don't even go there with me.
Michael Q's in as well. Hello there, Dan.
King of the Greeks.
King of the
Greeks.
Yeah, I tell you, I wish I was.
What you're not telling us, Dan?
King of the Greeks. If only. Nigel's in as well. Good evening, all. And
I'm going to buy you a toga.
Time zones. A toga. A toga.
I think you'd suit it.
I won't.
After dark.
Hello, who found me from Hock Milford.
Hello, sorry.
It's all going south, everybody. It's all going south.
See what happens when I come on.
Oh, yeah. And are you sure that's just Coke in there?
Oh, well.
The rum and Coke, yeah.
Who can say?
Too late now.
Duncan Shaw is here. John, he says, that old console room looks like an oil lantern. An oil lantern? That means the Eccleston console room. Does it really? An oil lantern?
I've never noticed that before.
No, not noticed that.
I
see what you mean.
My God.
Yeah. I sort of see it, yeah.
I totally see it. Yeah.
It's going to be one of those things it's kind of hard to unsee, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Emergency chairs, says Sarah. They are emergency chairs, indeed. Duncan Shaw says, always wanted to get a kilt. See, I've never worn a kilt. I've never had the need to, never felt the desire, Adam. But since you've trod the boards in various things, have you ever been in the Scottish play or anything like that? Have you ever had to wear a kilt?
I've not been in the Scottish play as of yet. I have not worn a kilt. I've worn several dresses, which I can get away with saying as an actor. In Panto, I understudied as the Dame, and I had to do it for one performance. So I had a cacophony of different ridiculous dresses and wigs to wear, which is great fun. But no, never worn a kilt.
You got to wear it to Eurovision. You got to wear it to Eurovision, Adam.
What, make everyone think that I've come from Scotland?
You're on.
That'd be a good challenge, actually.
Yeah.
I'll take you up on that, John.
Convince someone that you are a participant of the Eurovision Song Contest. Michael Q is in the live chat and says, hello, Adam Martyn, the man of Doctor Who viewing figures. That's how he's described. That's a hell of a billing.
Oh, blimey. That's
a
title and a half. I just like numbers. That's it. People are like, why'd you do it? I like numbers.
Is it really that simple? I had wondered.
I love that.
Genuinely, that's it. I mean, as a kid, like reading Doctor Who magazine and just even outside of Doctor Who, just something to do with numbers. I was one of those rare kids that actually loved learning like their multiplications and their divisions.
My son was the same.
Yeah, I loved it all.
Yeah, my brother's the same.
Yeah,
not
like
for me though.
Mental maths, like when they used to give you 30 questions on a sheet, it's like, right, do them as fast as you can. I love that.
God, I wish I sat next to you in maths. It's been amazing.
like a human
Oh,
computer.
I loved it.
He's another Sheldon here on the panel.
I
Sarah says,
know.
I'm loving Adam's jumper. And Michael
very
Q
much.
says it looks very Sixth
Give you the full thing.
Doctor-ish.
There you go.
Oh my god, it keeps going. That's awesome. I love it.
Yeah.
That's
great.
And a little smiley face
go
on there.
big or
That's
go
nice.
home. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
absolutely
I know. I feel
fantastic work.
underdressed.
That Eurovision with a kilt.
Yeah. They'd let me on stage with that attire. They'd be
Yeah, they would.
like, who are you representing? Are you Croatia, Switzerland? Yeah.
Mind your own business. That's who I'm representing.
Duncan Shaw has a moustache and beard now. Congratulations. Duncan.
Congratulations.
Join the club.
Well done,
Well done.
Well done, sir.
Might have to get on that
It
train.
really is a strange one. Colin Archer has chipped in with our little chat we had about the new delivery, the new broadcast pattern there, Adam. And he says, I think the biggest problem with the new timing will be avoiding spoilers on social media. Of course, the popular answer is we'll stay off social media. But sometimes life isn't that simple, is it? So what do you think?
Yeah, and again, I do sympathize with it. I know there's some people who, those who maybe work in either the social, or the online sphere, who maybe work at companies where they have to manage their social media pages. There's a whole list of things. But again, I just think, well, if you go to sleep before midnight, you're not going to get spoiled whilst you're asleep. I'd hope not. That'd be I'd be questioning how if you were. And then
Let's not go there.
for me, I know. Yeah, well, let's not go there. Someone whispering in their ear like this happened. This happened. But no, my mantra is if I don't watch it at midnight, I'll just wake up and the first thing I'll do, I'll go downstairs, make a cup of tea, make me breakfast. I don't need my phone to make breakfast. And then get my laptop or whatever, and then just go load up Google. I don't have to log on Twitter. I don't have to go near any of it. So again, I do sympathize with people with maybe it's a bit harder because of their jobs or whatever, but I do think there are steps we can take to avoid it as much as possible. But yeah, and then there's some people who say, "Oh, I can't watch it over breakfast. I have to go straight to work." Again, that's fair enough. I get that. There's spoilers throughout the day, but I don't think there's an ultimate win condition, if that makes sense. I don't think
I agree
there's a
completely.
solution for everybody.
Rob says Shah is hilarious. 2 minutes in and she's in trouble.
I know. I wish I planned it. I wish I could plan it. It's just what you see, what you get.
Michael
Yeah,
Pierce
sorry about that.
popping the Pringles in your honor. So we've got lots of comments like that. We have
Sour cream and onion, by the way.
Heretics in the live chat. And we have Nicholas Horton, who says Christopher Eccleston was in 28 Days Later. That was never 1996, was it, John?
Wow.
Was that 96?
Oh, no, I
Was
thought
it
was
2000?
later than that.
Was
I
it
love that
2002?
2000-ish.
Something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just
Was
said
he the
2002.
general?
Yeah.
Was he a general in that one? He was like an
I
army.
could picture him in
Yeah.
combats.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, in combats. Yeah.
Yeah, it was around that time, wasn't it? It wasn't 90s, I don't think.
No.
Remembering.
Good
I
movie.
remember being a
Obviously
kid when it
later.
came out, so yeah, it can't be. But
Did you see
I've
that
not
as a
watched it
kid?
so long. No, not as a kid, but I know.
I was I was gonna say,
I knew-
like,
I knew-
blimey, that's
when it came out,
Sneaking
my
into
parents were very,
cinema.
very lenient. Yeah.
Time Lord 2023 says this is why Doctor Who is amazing. It brings fans like us together, and because the show has been on TV for 60 years, shows Doctor Who will carry on strong. Well, we certainly hope so. Time Lord, of course we do. Fly Highland breaks the news that Young Sheldon is ending this year, just as I found it. Well, I suppose I've got 100 episodes to catch up on, haven't I? Gary Akers says, was Sylvester the Doctor during the time where this show is set? Apparently so. I think it's set in the late 90s into the late 80s, into the early 90s is my general take on it, but I could be wrong. Sheldon always watched Doctor Who on Saturday mornings, says Cybermat Strikes. And a starry-eyed girl, Sarah Graham, says, Sylvester is a trendsetter. You could call him, wait for it, the real McCoy.
Hey!
We started
Also
with
a great
Pringles,
brand of
now
crisps.
we're on McCoy's. Anybody else want to mention crisps or snacks? Please. Another fan of Kev McCulloch here, Adam, for you.
Yes, Kef is a legend. Big up Kef McCulloch.
Is a legend. He's a legend. And people calling for smash-ups or mash-ups and spin-offs, with Doctor Who and Sheldon itself. Maybe if they're watching, the people over at Paramount.
I can't get over King of the Green.
See just the imagery I've got, as seeing Dan as a Greek.
I expect to see a Greek
Talking about what you
background.
Back Shop Empire, that could be pretty good. That work out is probably quite lucrative. Like that.
Not what I was thinking of, but sure.
The Ramble Hammer has been mentioned as well. Now, the Ramble Hammer does sound like a wrestling finishing move. Have you ever thought about going to WWE?
Now I have. But that's one for the OnlyFans, just like down in a toga. Check it out.
There we are.
Wood wrestling.
Scary thought. One for the Patreons. Lord Thon says, LMAO, I'm telling geeks and gamers. Yes, send Jeremy my regards. Monday evenings with Dan and the Dantastics. That's even worse, Mark. But
we sound like a cover band that do only 90s.
Yeah. I think we should probably quit there while we're ahead. And we've got Glenn Piper's in as well. Tony L2, Rose Kirby, a few late arrivals. Oh, good evening. Hello to the chat. Happy Jelly Bean Day and Happy Earth Day. Are these things, John? What's a Jelly Bean Day?
I have got absolutely no idea what a Jelly Bean Day is.
I'm here for it. Whatever it is, I'm in. Yeah.
Give me jelly beans on Earth.
James adds, it's hard to stay off social media. Algorithms also are trying to throw things at you that they think you like. See, some people are incensed by that, but others find it helpful. I'm very 50-50 on it, quite wishy-washy about it. I'm a contrarian, I suppose, because I've cussed about it as often as I've enjoyed the benefits of it. So I feel like I can't really say anything, Shaw.
I get it. I mean, sometimes it's very telling, though, isn't it? You know, when you speak about something or you Google something, you think, why is that ad come to me? Oh, yeah, I remember why. No jokes. I can already see your face, Dan, changing, thinking of something. I think I'm more for it than against it, put it that way. And it is really hard to stay off. No one's saying it's easy, or at least I don't think anyone's saying it's easy at all. Luckily, I'm a night owl, so I will just watch it when it airs. And if you spoil stuff and it's on Twitter, it's just the way it is, isn't it? There's nothing you can do to stop it, basically, other than not be on it, because there'll always be that group of people that will just want to spoil everything. If we lived in a world where we couldn't, that'd be great. But it's what it is. You just got to stay off it. There's that,
I think that's a sensible way. I think that's a sensible way of looking at things. So yes, keep the comments coming. We've got a lot to get into on this edition of the show. So much to talk about, considering it's early in the week. What else? What else? And who else? I think that we can't really move on without giving a nod to someone special out there. Yes, where's the comments? There it is. And then there's that, and then there's this. Yes.
I need a big dance number. That's what I'm going to put into the universe.
Where is it, Dan?
I need the Doctor to have a big, fierce dance routine that, like, destroys a monster with twerking. Or maybe some death drops. And that's what will drop the monster.
Mike keeps turning off.
I think Peter's been overserved. I think we've got to move on. Before we get into the other stuff, happy birthday, Simon Horton. We've got a few comments in the live chat about this.
Happy birthday, mate.
Fabulous stuff. Yes, Simon's birthday again. He's out on the town with loved ones, having a good meal. I know it's been peeing it down, but I just hope that Simon's enjoyed his day, John. I mean, it's not necessarily about what's going on outside, is it? You know, you can have fun in any weather, can't you? We're British, for heaven's sake, we're British.
Yeah, he's in town right now having a few drinks in his Doctor Who outfit, isn't he? He's having a great time, bless him.
I'd say he's probably wearing the scarf, isn't he, Shaw? You know what Simon's like.
Oh, absolutely. I can see him. I can actually visualize him in my head with what he's wearing, what he's drinking. That's what he looks like, guys. Because I just thought, actually, a lot of people haven't seen any of us below our shoulders. But that is everyone to scale as well. That is, oh, bless him, though. Yeah, but I can see him with Lenny drinking his birthday drink. But yeah, many happy returns, Simon. Love you lots.
Is that the character options model shops you were doing for your toys that are coming out later this
year? Maybe Simon would definitely come with the season 18 scarf accessory. Of course, that was our That was our Christmas get-together there with Keith Isles from Home Media Minefield and Nikki P. Smalley. And, of course, there's Ian David Deers, the mega geek, as well as Sarah and Simon. I don't know who the bloke in the middle is, though.
Never seen it for my life.
It's all about him. It's all about Simon Horton. So, again, happy birthday to Simon Horton. He'll be back on the show this coming Thursday. Don't you worry about any
when
of that.
When can we give him birthday bees? You know? Birthday bees.
He's not coming back now. He's decided.
No, he's not. He's like, oh, for God's sake, he's scared. Don't be scared, Simon. Don't be scared.
Yes, that's another birthday. And thank you, everybody who got in touch with me as well to wish me happy birthday. It was my birthday at the weekend. I had lots of messages and some very sweet comments as well. So I really do appreciate it. And the fan art too, particularly this one. This was sent to me. This was sent to me by our friend David, and it incorporates a lot of my favourite things. So we've got Jenna Coleman, sexy brunette. We've got Great Britain. We've got bras. We've got beer. We've got Doctor Who, and we've got an English country garden. So thank you for that. I had a brilliant birthday. It's really kind of you all to send me so many birthday wishes. It's appreciated.
What is a Hoyset fox? Do you see on the banner there?
Yeah,
what is
I think we're supposed to look at that. Well, it's a sign that whoever painted up the police box could have been, they could have been maybe the staff at the pub, or maybe one of the regulars came in and they paid them. They didn't pay them in cash; they paid them in beer. And so whilst they were painting the sign, couple of typos, Adam, couple of typos.
I want a birthday picture like that.
Oh, don't worry, you can have my dress. Let me go and get it. You wear that while you're at it. Bear with me 2 seconds. Let me just mark myself.
She will as well. It's just long enough to remind you that if you'd like more of this, specifically in your ears, head over to our home feed at type40.podbean.com. That's where you can find all of the podcasts right there. So it's the very latest one, which is our preview of season 1 of All New Doctor Who with our guest Ian Levine. So we go as deep as we possibly can with what very little information we've got on all 8 episodes that are going to make up Shooty Gatwa's first full season. So there's that, as well as all our other previews, interviews, geek-outs and deep dives stretching all the way back. Head over to type40.podbean.com or catch us across all major podcatchers. Sure, what are you waving at me?
Well, I know, but my arm's aching because I was holding it up for so long while you were doing that promo. John, it's free for good home if you wish to wear it. It has featured on this before. You're so welcome. And anyone else in the chat, if you want it, come get it.
You read my mind.
Oh my God, Adam, should we go together?
Yeah.
There we go.
That's what I need to wear.
I'll get you one too.
People will be asking to sign it, though.
Oh, they can. Don't know how I'm going to do that on glitter, but I'll do my best.
It beggars belief, doesn't it? It beggars belief.
I know.
Okay. Yes, so this is Type 40 Live, where we dive in deep with the week's happenings in Doctor Who. I say happenings and non-happenings, because in some ways, we're an impatient bunch in Doctor Who world, and there's one particular thing that really gets under our skin that I think it's okay to be entitled about as well. So let's get into all of that. Yeah. You like
whatever
that,
time or day it is, that always puts
is that a sigh audible? I am so sorry. It really scares me.
Traveling back through time again now, but sort of into the future as well. If you're following me, you're probably not. Because any day now, BBC Studios will announce the next in their range of Doctor Who Blu-rays. That's the collection of limited edition box sets that gets all feverishly pre-ordering day of release and then obsessing about for weeks and weeks, months in between that moment and when the postie drops them through your letterbox or in the porch or whatever. The cycle of these releases, it never seems to end. I think we're about 15 releases in at the moment now, John, aren't we? But for the time being, we're sort of stuck in this loop, aren't we? Like a time loop, like in Meglos.
We are. We need saving. We need releasing. We need it announced soon.
Yeah, no, as soon as we've got one sort of space on the shelf filled, then we're anticipating the next one. I think it's because Doctor Who fans are never completely satisfied. I don't think that's going to come as news to the people who run this range over at BBC, but because they're fans themselves, and I think that shows in the love that they pour into these sets that bring us the classic series looking better than we've ever seen it before. And of course, part of what makes these collector's edition sets objects of desire are the artworks. They don't just cover the boxes themselves, but the discs that are housed inside, so that everybody can build up this glorious collection to be proud of. Put the smile on anybody's face, wouldn't it? But so Lee Binding is the artist and designer who makes the collection sets look so fantastic, isn't he? And he's been teasing the next set in the last week or so over on his social media. He's put out this image here and says, from this we're supposed to decipher, Adam. He believes that from this we can decipher which is going to be the next season that will make it into the range of the collection limited edition Blu-ray sets. So is Lee taking the slash with this, or have you? Do you think you've worked out which season it could be?
No, I thought it was a flag of Luxembourg. Well, what is that? I've never seen
Eurovision again, aren't we?
I mean, it does kind of suspiciously look like the sort of logo designs for Eurovision this year, does it not? All the coloured bars and whatnot.
Amazing.
Maybe that's what it took inspiration from. Who knows? But
I've just noticed your name is spiky-haired individual. That's amazing.
I had to put something truthful, Char, of course.
Well, yeah, exactly.
I've
just noticed it.
Nobody can ever say you take yourself too seriously, Adam. That's what I like about you, mate.
Oh, well, if I wouldn't walk around wearing a jumper like this and have hair like this if I took myself too seriously.
I would.
It's all right. Well, when I'm in Sweden, I'll be with like-minded folk. It'll be fine. No, when I saw this, there wasn't anything that immediately jumped out. I mean, I'm sure that was the case for a lot of people. It is, but the more I thought about it, I thought if I had to take a guess, my inkling would maybe be towards season 7, John Pertwee's first one. And the only reason for that really is because for some reason it made me think of Inferno, all the orange and the volcano. And I don't know, this sounds so weird, but that color scheme, sort of grey, yellow, it just makes me think of season 7. Because yes, it was in first one in color, but when you watch it back, it's not like vibrantly colorful, if that makes sense. It's there's a lot of muted colors in there, a lot of the grey, a lot of the yellow, a lot of the orange. I think it was really season 8 when you start to see lots of like the bright reds and blues.
The problem is,
out.
though, and I agree with you completely, Adam, but the problem with that train of logic is that whichever season Lee's creating artwork for, he makes them all look very, very tasteful with his choice of colours, doesn't he? I mean, here's our Sarah with the season 15 box set that came out not that long ago, last month. And yeah, I would say it's particularly a garish time in the show's history, but Lee always sort of makes them look... he always makes it look quite artsy, I think. My guess was season 7 as well, for largely the same reasons, I have to say. Have you got a punt on this, John?
I don't. I was thinking earlier today. I was thinking season 16, Key to Time. I don't know why, but I've just got a thing of the colours at the beginning when the TARDIS doors open and he meets the White Guardian. That colour scheme. So that's my guess. Give it to me.
Season 16 has been rumoured for a very, very long time. We're 15 sets into this range, as I said.
Yeah.
So, yes, that leaves 11 possibles to come. So, season 1, obviously, there's the season 1 itself, but seasons 3, 4, 5, and 6 are also yet to be released. From the Pertwee era, it's a choice of season 7, as you were saying, Adam, or season 11. With Tom Baker, it's the choice of season 16, as you were saying, John, or season 13. Season 21 is outstanding from the Peter Davison era, whilst Sylvester McCoy's second season, season 25, we're yet to get that to complete his era as well. So it's gradually whittled its way down. Just 2 seasons from the whole of the 80s and 4 from the 70s. So, yeah, you've got to sort of weigh up the probabilities when you look at these things, haven't you, Shah? What do you think they're going to go for?
Honestly, I've not got the foggiest. I look at that and I just feel like I'm not wearing my glasses. Like, I'm sorry, I'm so bad at this kind of thing. I'm just far too unobservant for this. By the way, someone pointed out that it's not the flag of Luxembourg. That's fine. I didn't know what it was anyway. So,
I think it's red, white, and light blue. I think.
Oh,
Again, as a Eurovision fan, I'm accustomed to these things. Brain rot, absolute brain rot, Shah.
It's all right. It's my daily life.
We're going deep dive on this, aren't we? I'm just trying to catch up with the comment section to see what people are thinking.
Is it jumping?
Where we could be going. It is jumping all over the place. It's jumping and it's lagging. Let us know what you think, everybody. What's your psychic paper telling you? So we were so curious about this one, that weren't we though, John? That we put out a poll over on social media to work out what people thought. So we polled people, the followers of the Type 40 page on X, didn't we? And this was your idea. So what made you suggest this?
Well, everyone's always buzzing to find out about a latest box set release, aren't they, really? So I just thought it'd be a good fun just to put it out there and see what everyone's preference is, really. I think we've talked about it before, but we kind of wanted some earlier seasons, didn't we? That's on our list. So
Daryl Joyce is in the live chat asking for season 7 again there.
Yeah.
So it's pretty early, John.
Yeah. Ideally, I would love to see season 5, but I don't think I'm going to get my wish this time.
Why season 5 in particular?
Well, Tomb of the Cybermen is a favourite of mine.
Yes. Same.
And I just want to see them, smart that one up like they always seem to have a talent to do, and lots of extras. That would be really, really good. And it amazes me now when you look at it with all the animations that are coming out, how many stories we previously started off with we didn't have, but now we do have in some form, apart from audio. So it's great. So give me season 5. Change the release. Give me season 5.
Of course. The thing is, in a lot of cases, when there's a story that's outstanding that you'd love to see remastered as they do so beautifully with these box sets, like Cybermat Strikes here is asking specifically wants Remembrance of the Daleks, and so obviously wants the season 25 set specifically for that one story. I think that's probably true in a lot of cases. I mean, great many people do want Inferno because it's so beloved. Same with Spirit from Space, I suppose, and certain elements of the Key to Time season are loved more than others, aren't they? Personally, honestly, I don't care what we get. Because I'm a completist anyway. I'm going to buy it anyway. So I don't really mind,
Can I change my guess? I'm going season 21 now because I've just realised those colours could be from a certain military officer's outfit. Those colours from Caves of Androzani.
Oh, I love Doctor Who fans. This is why I love it, because I think the things that I would just never notice. Like, I would never even cotton onto that.
Yeah, but Charlie, you know that I've said that now. When I'm wrong, about 1,000 people are going to call me out on it online.
I know. That's right. This isn't live. You'll cut it.
Rob Alexander is hoping for a Troughton. Season 6 has been long rumoured, but the image suggests season 7 again, or possibly 11 or 25. Not sure. It's covering a lot of bases there, Rob, but all the fun of the fair. Yes, Team of the Sidemen, very popular again as well.
Oh, you are in for such a treat when you do.
Yes.
Absolute classic.
Wicked.
Release it all. We're not getting any younger, please. Cybermat Strikes. Yeah, I love the fact though, Adam, that there's people who haven't seen stuff like Tomb of the Cybermen yet. Because Shaw, I hope you don't mind me saying, but you've only recently seen a couple of stories that are considered classics yourself, haven't you? And so your messages is, oh my God, I just watched the Aztecs, and oh my God. And it's a lovely reaction to share that with people. It's the closest one can get to watching them again for the first time.
Yeah, in fact, I think it's quite nice because specifically yourself and Simon, I'll always say, just about to pop this on. What do you think? And you'll always be like, oh, so envious if it's one that is great, like Caves. or something like that. But then it's quite nice because I've now watched them. When I see other people saying I've not watched that yet, I'm like, oh, but I know what I'm talking about this time, hun, so I can tell you. So it is really nice to, it's really nice to experience it for the first time, even though it might sound a bit strange because I grew up from Eccleston, so I know pretty much what comes after anyway. So go back and then, in fact, it was my mum. Sorry, here we go. It was my mum that mentioned it when we were watching. They call it
the ramble.
Yeah. When we were watching the specials for the 60th, and my mum was just like, how many title sequences have you seen? I just went, all of them. I just haven't watched all the episodes. So it is very, very nice to experience it for the first time and actually know what you guys are talking about when you bring it up. So that's always a plus. I'm finished now. Carry on.
It can help. Nicholas Corton says these season box sets tend to be way out of my budget price range, so I stick with the regular DVD releases. Well, the DVD releases are excellent as well. So I don't think
have a look on Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
it's
can't really go far wrong.
I'm glad that the DVDs are sort of still in circulation, because I remember when they first announced the collection back in 2018, I think was the first one. It's only been 6 years, crazy. But when they announced it, in my head, I thought, right, this is like, the beginning of the end. They're not going to print any more DVD copies. It's going to be secondhand and prices will go up. So I'm really glad to see
and listings. Yeah.
Exactly. So I'm really glad that they've still, there's people who debate, some say, oh, it's not a good thing because people aren't going to buy the collection, but I think there's enough new stuff on the collection, not to mention the improved, like the cleaning up they've done and all that sort of stuff. I think there's, as said there's markets for both, and I think that's really good, because Doctor Who's always been quite I'd hope at least like a very accessible property in home media. So the fact that the DVDs are still there, I think, is a good option.
Yeah,
it's great.
So widely available. I mean, you could pick up the VHSs pretty much everywhere back in the day, and the DVDs as well. Come to think of it, you could buy them in supermarkets and things like that originally. Glenn Piper says, I never noticed the dodgy effects growing up. 80s and 90s is my era. New Who fans, though some people I don't feel can see past the effects, which is sad, isn't it? It is sad, but I think that what they do brilliantly with these releases is they anticipate that, and they offer the option to watch with enhanced effects a great deal of the time, and new special effects. So that barrier to entry, it can be eliminated to some extent, Shah.
It's a good point, but just from my personal experience, I think, Adam, I'm not going to speak for you, but I think we've actually spoken about this before. And a couple of other people that are around, my age, actually love the dodgy effects, because it's
it's part of the charm.
Exactly, there is a beauty to it that is so authentic in a weird way. I know it's a weird word to use, but in a way that you are experiencing it, like my granddad would, or like an older fan would who grew up seeing it. I want to see that because I want to see that magic that you can get from a shoestring budget.
And I've seen a lot of younger Who fans as well that I've spoken to, and they've said that I don't know if it's because there's a lot of shows out that they're not interested in. They've gone back and they're watching the original run, and they're not talking about the effects. They're talking about how great the stories are.
And the scripts.
And so even now, I still think you can find people of a certain age that are getting into it who will switch past that, and they will go, that story was fantastic. I just want more of it. And they'll be off.
It's like anything. There's the reason why Star Wars was so popular, when that first came out, and the people are still watching that. Labyrinth, for example, people will still watch that. And really, you look at it and you think, oh, but it's just part of it, isn't it? If I think you can accept anything that's part of its time. That being said, I do appreciate there's a couple of like my cousins and friends and stuff that can't do it, so I understand completely where it's coming from. But I personally adore it. Give me all the shaky cameras, give me the dodgy effects, give me the men in costumes. I'm totally here for it.
Yeah,
that's one of the things I enjoy most about using the platform X. Come to think of it, Adam, the fact that you can see people of all ages. I think generally speaking, it skews younger, probably to people your age, actually, both yourself and Shah. But
Adam is younger than me. I just want to make that clear. I don't, wouldn't ever say that he's the same age as me.
Adam's younger than me as well. I just want to make that clear.
You know what I'm
You don't want to
saying?
insult the guy, you know.
Quite often, I do see commentary from people who are finding this stuff for the first time, or maybe haven't seen it in a long time. I find that interesting as well. So for all that, again, social media is something that we all cuss about under our breath now and again. But I do think that connectivity can, if you use it in a sort of responsible and measured way, can bring quite a lot into your field of vision, as long as you don't block everybody who disagrees with you and things like that. But tell you what I do disagree with, the idea that we're going to be running out of these soon on the Blu-ray range. I love these. What would you call them? I think I'd call them minisodes. I think they're classed as minisodes because it's a good 5 to 10 minutes worth of actual drama, isn't it, Adam?
And this one, the most recent one, was fantastic. I mean, obviously, Louise Jameson coming back, and just the whole setup of the story. I think because obviously Leela's had that long life, particularly in like the Big Finish Gallifrey range, where she's thrived alongside Romana 2 and all these original characters. But to see her in this situation in the Time War, hearing some of Murray Gold's music in there as well, which was nice, reflecting the modern era. It's just wonderful. I do sort of understand the comments when they say the future ones might have to be a bit more like scaled back, or some releases might not have them, because I guess particularly in the case of the 60s ones, in some cases there aren't many people around anymore, sad as it is to say. Yes, I know there are still some, but I guess with as people get older, there's in some cases there's less things they're able to do in front of the camera. Yeah, and again, it is sad. I mean, season 7, obviously we haven't got John Pertwee, there's no Caroline John, no Nicholas Courtney, so that's immediately your 3 regulars who are not there. I mean, you could maybe do something with John Levine as Sergeant Benton, who was in season 7 here and there. But, in terms of getting, because it's mainly been companions, hasn't it? Like we've had Leela, we've had Tegan and Nyssa, we've had Perry, but, season 7's a case. Season 11, again, no Elizabeth Sladen, sadly. Again, John Levine's around still. But do you know what I mean? I think that's partly the reason. That'd be my guess. And yes, you could do things where... Yeah, you could do things with like other characters from the Whoniverse, build something around them. Like, I thought it was great with Tales from the TARDIS, how they had Joe and Clyde Langer sort of represent for Sarah Jane. So maybe for season 11, you could do, in Sarah Jane's attic, they're rummaging through stuff and they find about those early adventures. So I think there are workarounds, but I do understand that, they've only got a limited budget, I guess, to do these things, and that, that maybe can't stretch to everything. But it is a shame. But I think it's been great what we've had, though, all the way through.
Yeah.
Consistently, incrementally better each release as well. Sam in the live chat here watching on YouTube asks, can Shah stop referring to Classic Who as Doctor Who my granddad would watch? It's making me feel extremely...
Oh my God, I am so sorry. Can I just add a bit of context for Sam? If you don't know, if I've never told anyone, if I've not told you before, if you haven't heard me say it, the reason I mention my granddad quite often is because he is the one who got me into Doctor Who in the first place, and is just a bigger fan as I am. So just want to make that perfectly clear. Good save, right? Nice recovery.
Well done. Rob says, if season 11 is on the way soon, I can't wait to see what they will do with Invasion of the Dinosaurs. As John rightly says, it's the story that's what counts. Dinosaurs fundamentally is a rattling good yarn. So this has captured people's imaginations. It's safe to say, and if we can't really see, I can't believe I'm doing this, peering at this, if you can't really see what's going on there, we do have the results of our Twitter poll, I'm happy to say. So we put it out there, from which Doctor's era would you like to see the next release? And so this is the results. It came in at 44.3% of those who responded wanted a Troughton release. So they go over. That's a sizable lead, isn't it, Shah? Over Pertwee at 30 at second place.
Yeah. I mean, I'm happy with all of them. Maybe the top 3. Nothing against McCoy, just is what it is. But Troughton, I'm surprised, but I'm pleasantly surprised. That's a good shout. Yeah, well done, voters.
Yeah.
McCoy and Hartnell literally level pegging there. Yeah. John, does that surprise you?
It did. It did immensely. But all I can say is, look, the people have spoken. Give us season 5. Thanks very much.
Now, obviously, Colin Baker's era is complete on Blu-ray. We've just had that Tom Baker season 15, and the release before that was Peter Davison's season 20. So we thought it was sensible to just boil it down to those 4 Doctors. But that really is, there's a genuine appetite there for anything Troughton, it seems. That's pretty clear, isn't it, Adam?
It is, and I think it's so difficult though, because of course poor Patrick, all 3 of his seasons have these gaps, and I mean, and season 5 is quite rightly, John. You know, most of it now is complete in some form with the animations. I think it's just Wheel in Space left, I think, to get out the door. But I've seen people say there's like exclusivity things, because I know when they moved the archive to iPlayer, I think Abominable Snowmen didn't go there immediately. It was like an 18-month gap, I think, between when the got released. So I think season 5, I think it will come. I just don't know. They probably want to do Wheel in Space individually. I don't know. Season 6, it's only the Space Pirates, but I think there's no telesnaps for that one. And yes, we've got episode 2, but I think if they're doing an animation from that really will be like from the ground up almost. So, and season 4 is it just the Highlanders, John, we're missing from season 4 now?
Just Highlanders, I think it is, from memory.
Which they could do.
Right.
But I just think if we're going to believe the whole exclusivity thing, or of standalone releases, then if that's true, I sadly then don't think we're going to see a Troughton set for a while. But who knows? Some people argue the Highlanders, some would say maybe, that's not marketable on its own. The only way to do it would be to bundle it as part of the collection, which I can see the argument that for the Space Pirates as well. But certainly something like the Wheel in Space, a Cyberman story, I think they'd want to release that on its own.
Adam, are you actually suggesting that Doctor Who fans will double dip and buy a standard release and a collection release? Outrageous. I can't believe you said that.
I couldn't possibly comment. Not that I've done that myself more than once. I think we can all agree here that the BBC know this all too well. Doctor Who fans can and will buy anything. So
I want to know what jobs you've all got, because my God.
This release has got a purple sticker on it. Yeah, take my money, 50 quid.
Exactly. Well, I
These sets have always been strong sellers. I don't think that's going to change anytime soon, Adam.
Yes, when they did the second printing of season 12, because if you remember, that first printing seemed to go within like 5 seconds, and then it went on the second-hand market for like £1,000, which is so dumb thinking about it now.
So ridiculous.
It is. But I remember the second printing, I got mine, and it was just as COVID started, and I opened it, and I had one of the misprints, so all the discs said season 10, and they had the season 10 characters, but it was season 12 on the discs, and I thought, I sort of sat back and went, am I really going to order another set? And I didn't, thankfully. Sanity took over, and I was like, it's just what the discs look like. It's still season 12. But I'm sure some people would have had that misprint and thought, I have to buy it again now.
They do those programs, don't they? It happens quite regularly where they do replace discs. They do this for not just the classic range, for the collection range, but it happens with brand new releases as well. It baffles me. I think, you've got one job. We've just got one job. How hard could it possibly be? I've had people from the range on the show as well. It's nothing that I wouldn't say to their faces, but sincerely, this range has been a triumph.
Yes,
it's absolutely a prestigious set. Which, it, obviously, if it's cost prohibitive, you've got my sympathies there. But it's a range of releases that I never thought we'd get. Yeah. I certainly never thought they'd get me to part with my money for a third time after buying the VHSs and the DVDs. But I didn't buy the first couple. I had to play catch up. I missed it. I certainly wasn't going to pay a grand.
Yeah.
But now I'm completely on board and invested, and happy to sit there squinting at whatever Lee Binding's happy to post up to us next on social media.
And what we were saying a few minutes ago, Dan, about the fact that a younger generation are getting into the original run. You can tell that that's happening by the fact that these sets, they're selling out and they're number one in stores and online, aren't they? So they're beating a lot of high-profile movies and shows.
Even though, John, they manufacture more of them now so that they don't sell out so quicker, you'd think that perhaps if people know there's more of them available, they probably wouldn't rush to purchase. but that doesn't seem to be the case. People do want them immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell me the show's dead now.
Yeah.
Someone tell me.
Yeah, that's my objection to the whole hashtag RIP Doctor Who movement. You can think whatever you like about what's on TV, but there's no way this brand is dead, is spent. If you could be spent, you may need to take a couple of minutes to point Percy.
Oh, here we go.
And
where's Retro Dot when I need him?
if you do, then we have the ideal break. So take a look at this clip from Doctor Who's distinguished even golden past. We'll see you back here in a moment or two.
New look to Monday afternoons on BBC Two, beginning tomorrow at 3:55 with Betty Davis playing twins in the star movie A Stolen Life.
Hello. Which one is it? You know. If he means that much to you, fight for him.
And there's the first ever Doctor Who with William Hartnell.
Have you ever thought what it's like to be wanderers in the fourth dimension? Have you? To be exiles? Susan and I are cut off from our own planet, without friends or protection. But one day, we shall get back.
In a new series of The Adventure Game, day trippers from Earth try to outwit the Argons and unravel the mysteries of Arg. And Living in the Past reconstructs life on a British farm in the Iron Age as a group of 12 people discover the difficulties in adapting to life as it was.
Hello, yes, we're back with Type 40 Live here. And where are we? Yes, this is where we cover all things Doctor Who, both on and off screen. Kicking off your Geeky Week with the panel here on Monday. We've got John Sheldon here. We've got Shaw with her Ramble Hammer. And we've got our special guest, Adam Martyn there, the man with the snazziest knitwear in the whole of pop culture and hair even higher than mine. So thank you for all the comments we've had. Thank you for all the comments we've had so far whilst we've been stuck into all of this. Sticking with our Christopher Eccleston thing, this does make me laugh every time I see it. Bless him. So keep the comments coming, everybody. You've just seen some promo, of course, from the 5 Faces of Doctor Who season from 1981, forever etched into the memories of some of us of a certain age. This was a series of repeats organised by the producer John Nathan Turner, at the time broadcast on BBC Two from Monday through to Thursday evenings, and it began in the November of 1981. He chose 4. No, he didn't. He chose 5 4-part stories, didn't he? These are from the first 4 Doctors. And the idea was that they would lead into the on-screen debut of the 5th Doctor, Peter Davison, in the new year of 1982. It was an exciting time to be a Doctor Who fan. We've talked about it over and over on this show. And whilst that's not necessarily where we're going for this segment of the show, it would be remiss of us to talk about BBC Two and not give a nod to the 5 Faces of Doctor Who. Obviously, were you around for this, John, or was this before your time as well?
Just before my time. Well, I was around, but I wasn't able to pick up on it, put it that way.
You wore rusks and nappies there.
I was, yeah. My focus was elsewhere.
We have Simon Anthony in the live chat who says, I worked on the 5 Doctors.
Oh, wow.
Chat, won't you, Simon? A triumph, an absolute triumph. I remember the
Thank you
adventure
for that.
game.
It's awesome.
Says Colin Archer. Yeah, the adventure game set was lit. Says Dem. What is it? We've had socket to them. Things are lit. What's going on?
So here for it. Keep it coming.
Down with the kids.
This is your influence, Charlotte.
Did you just Charlotte me?
You called me Daniel last week. The Sam says the 5 Faces of Doctor Who, the most exciting time of my life at the time. I'm glad you said at the time, otherwise I'd have my worries. Brilliant stuff. Yeah, fond memories for everybody who was there at the time. And of course, there's been plenty of good stuff since, as of course there has. Okay, so we love an anniversary in the Whoniverse, don't we? It has to be said. And whilst this one on the surface doesn't necessarily have a great deal to do with Doctor Who, I thought it was important for us to talk about it, particularly as we have Adam with us. So in the last few days, it's been the 60th anniversary of BBC Two. So this is the BBC's second TV channel. It was launched on April the 20th, 1964, of course, with somewhat of a fanfare. It was a big deal for the BBC to be launching another channel back then, wasn't it, Adam? It seems almost imaginable now.
Yes, I mean, we have to remember back then, before BBC Two, there was only 2 television channels in the UK, which I think for all of us is like, what, 2 channels? But, you know, that was the reality. So, I mean, the fact there had to be a whole government report arguing why there should be a 3rd channel in the first place. You know, a lot of government ministers of the day thought more channels would dilute the public and it would, you know, rot the mind and all that. And whether or not it did
is our brains.
Exactly, yeah. So it was a big deal, as you say, and there was all this fanfare, all this build-up, and right on the launch night, there was a disastrous failure. There was a big fire at Battersea Power Station, as it was then, which controlled electricity for great swaths of London, and it knocked out all power at Television Centre. So BBC Two didn't go on the air as planned, and poor Gerald Priestland, who was a newsreader back then, they diverted the feed to Alexandra Palace and probably basically told him, "You're on, say the news, and just keep doing that until we tell you to stop." But I mean, you know, talk about classic old school British professionalism. If you watch the clip of him, and it is out there, he's like really poised. He's reading the news, and every now and then he'll stop to say, "Yes, and you know, we apologise that BBC Two is not on the air. We are endeavouring to get." Before earpieces at his desk, there's all these old telephones, and every now and then they ring, and he'll just have a conversation whilst the cameras are rolling. So he just stops, and you can hear him going, "Hello, yes, all right," and it's honestly a fascinating watch. And the fact that, you know, this channel, it probably made the launch more prolific. The fact that it just went so disastrously
wrong. It was a massive
wrong.
cock up,
It was a massive cock up, and they eventually, I think about 20 minutes in, thought, we aren't going to get this fixed. We'll abandon it tonight, and we'll try again tomorrow. So the very first program that actually went out on BBC Two famously wasn't the, you know, big sort of review program to introduce it. It was Play
the
School.
Gala night. Was it really?
Yeah. It was Play School instead. It went out at 11 a.m., I think, the next day. You know, the famous, "Here is a house, here is a door, windows 1, 2, 3, 4.
I watched it every day, Adam. I watched it every day.
Well, there you go. We know the theme. But,
Except I used to call it, I was so little, I couldn't say Play School. I called it Pacooch. That's what I used to call it.
So similar.
So similar.
close.
You're quite right. I remember the days when there was only the three channels, and the symbol of BBC Two meant a certain brand of programming. It became famous for showing a lot of snooker, a lot of black and white movies, and stuff like The Late Show. It was always the slightly artsier channel where you'd get sort of ballets and Shakespeare and very sort of minimal plays and things like that, and documentaries like The World About Us. They would do these deep dive documentaries, but it's also the channel that brought us The Weakest Link.
It is.
And Eggheads, The Young Ones, Not the 9 o'clock News, and who could forget Star Cops too? That's also a BBC Two show. So when I look back, John, through my TV history, the shows I've latched onto, you know, Red Dwarf, again, a staple of BBC Two. There was as much on BBC Two as there was on BBC One. I mean, I don't know about you, whether you've got many memories of BBC Two.
I mean, apart from Neighbours on BBC One and Doctor Who, a lot of my stuff was BBC Two on BBC One. A lot of it was on BBC Two. So I had, I always remember they had Star Trek on, the original series. They put that on in the 80s when you came in from school about tea time. They did the 60s show, The Invaders, which was a sci-fi show, which was great. They did Next Generation, came on BBC Two. So BBC Two was the place I went for my sci-fi growing up, apart from Doctor Who.
The slot was called Death 2, wasn't it? And they'd show stuff like Buck Rogers, Battlestar Galactica, and then into Star Trek. And they had a big hit in the early 90s as well with repeating Thunderbirds and all that kind of stuff all over again. And it was so successful. That was where the Blue Peter build your own Tracy Island thing came from. So BBC Two has evolved. It's sort of rolled with the times, I think, hasn't it, Adam?
It has. I think it's almost sad in a way, because I think now it's in a very precarious position. I mean, obviously the BBC would get more channels, BBC Three, which of course was mainly tailored to, you know, the teenage young adult market, BBC Four, which was a sort of a mix of archive content and, you know, more niche programming. In a way, I think BBC Four, I'd argue, more reflects, you know, the sentiments you were talking about there of BBC Two in the early days. When you look at the schedule now, it's a lot of repeats from BBC One. It's, you know, or programming that's dedicated to just one theme, which I think is a shame. And with the way television's changing now, the big question is, will BBC Two live in its current form to see its 70th anniversary in 10 years' time? I don't think it will, in terms of being a terrestrial channel. I think it'll either get moved online, as so many channels are these days, or it'll just be amalgamated into the iPlayer, because, you know, the Beeb's changing, as are all the broadcasters. They have to by nature. And I think a lot of the old...
BBC Two, Adam, used to represent almost a brand within a brand. I think in the way that BBC Three arguably still does, and BBC Four still did. They've really, I think they've sort of destroyed BBC Four. BBC Two used to have that, and you're quite right. I mean, the last time I saw it regularly, it had become a sort of refuge for programs that you'd seen multiple times, or stuff from the other channels. It did seem very unloved, despite the snazzy logo. So I did wonder, as you said, change is absolutely in the air. What you thought the future for BBC Two could be, and what it represents to you. Have you got any thoughts about this, Shah? Do you watch much on BBC Two?
No, I've never seen a single. It's fascinating learning, so thank you, Adam. But and all of you actually. But I've never seen a single thing apart from Adventure in Space and Time. It was the only thing I'd ever seen. Unless Keeping Up Appearances was on it, because I used to love watching that with my grandparents, but I don't think it was. Otherwise, no, because I'm not very much into other bits of sci-fi apart from Star Wars. So I'm not a Trekkie. I've never been into Battlestar Galactica or anything like that. So it's just not my kind of channel. I was definitely a BBC Three kind of gal. But that's probably just because of my age and everything at the time and what was coming out. So yeah, fortunately, no, it's not my kind of thing.
Even though Doctor Who has never. Go on,
sorry, Dan. I was just going to say they did groundbreaking comedy, like you said about young ones, but didn't they do The Office was on BBC Two?
It was, yeah.
Oh, in that case, I'm a liar. I've watched BBC Two.
Well, not originally. It wasn't a BBC Two production, but I think that's where it sort of reached its audience in the finish. It found a more...
And like Shooting Stars as well was on BBC Two.
Oh, mate. Oh, yeah, I'm a liar. Yeah, big time. Yeah. Ignore what I've just said. Come back to me.
Definitely.
You could have told me this before, and then I
know. I will private chat next time. Private chat.
Yeah, I want to hear that. Keep typing.
I think it does have an important link with Doctor Who as well, as you played earlier, Dan. The whole Five Faces, of course, that was back then in 1981. That would have been the first time since broadcast people could have watched An Unearthly Child, Carnival of Monsters, The Crotons, and in the days when VHS was young and expensive, it would. And for BBC Two, even if you look at the time, the viewing figures were quite good for that channel, considering they were repeating programs that were 5, 10, 15, nearly 20 years old in some cases. And BBC Two in the 90s as well would host a lot of Doctor Who repeats, again, at a time where the show wasn't on the air. Yes, VHS was around, but they would show stories that weren't on VHS yet. So again, providing another chance to watch something people wouldn't have seen in years. And it sort of dwindled out towards the new millennium. They had a plan in 1999. I think this is right. We're gonna show every color because apparently audiences don't like black and white, which is a load of rubbish. But they said we're gonna show all the color stories from Spearhead from Space till Survival. We'll do an episode a week or 2 episodes a week, something like that. We'll get going. Spearhead, maybe not the numbers they wanted. The Silurians, really not the numbers they wanted. So they thought, right, okay, we'll skip straight to Genesis of the Daleks, Tom Baker's time, because in corporate mind, Tom Baker plus Daleks equals success. Because it was the 50 billionth time they'd repeated Genesis, it didn't do very well either. And then sadly, they sacked off the whole thing. But I thought, how fascinating if they'd have actually seen out that plan to fruition. I think that could have been quite cool.
They sold it quite heavily at the time, so they trailered that as this is kind of Doctor Who from the start in colour. There's adverts everywhere, and it died within a couple of months. It was great. It was a great shame. When you look back through Doctor Who history, there are several little links to BBC Two. First of all, there was this. So Who's Doctor Who? This was the 1977 documentary where Melvyn Bragg gave Doctor Who the kind of the South Bank treatment, really. He treated it as proper art. He talks about the ideas and the attitudes, the philosophies, and the production, the initiative behind the people who worked on it, I suppose, that made it happen with the budgets that they'd got. It really took us behind the scenes in the show for the very first time in that. So it's been seen, I think it's been on a DVD release, it's on a Blu-ray release already. This is pretty widely viewed, isn't it now, John?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've lost count of how many times I've watched that over the years. But it's just, that's my go-to one that I always watch. You know, I always pick that one out, and it's great, and I can't get enough of it. So I'm sure everybody in the chat's the same. They probably watched it about 400 times over the years as well.
It exists as a little bit of a time capsule, obviously, because it's there. It's during the filming, the making of the Talons of Weng Chiang. So it's centered around a specific story, isn't it? But I suppose the idea was it's sort of like not a day in the life, but a couple of weeks in the life of a show that at that point had been around for 14 years. It was considered to be a veteran TV show even then, wasn't it, Adam?
Yeah, I think in Melvyn Bragg's intro, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm certain he either says the words, national institution or cult classic. So even by that point, because, there were very few shows, I think even then, obviously Coronation Street had been chugging along, and I think Z-Cars at that point I think it was almost over, but I think in 77 it was still going. But there were very few other shows, especially shows like Doctor Who that, amongst as much as we deny it now, let's face it, back then, a lot of people still thought this was a children's program. Even some at the BBC, when they talk about it, still, view it as a children's program, even though it's made by the drama department. But it gets a lot of love. And I think it's a great, like you say, it's a good time capsule into the public's mood of Doctor Who back then. And I think that's reflected in, like future documentaries like 30 Years in the TARDIS in the 90s. That's a portrait of Doctor up till then. And we've had various ones since the revival as well. I just think all these documentaries are great little time capsules into when they were made and sort of the view of Doctor Who, whether that's the current presence or nostalgia.
Yeah, definitely.
And the artsiness of BBC Two as it was, it's very much all like lots of talking heads. Everything's very, very serious. There's no glitz or glamour to it. It treats Doctor Who straight, I suppose. And it was the same on Did You See? Now, this was the channel's TV review show. It ran for a year, I think the best part of 20 years. Most of that time it was fronted by a guy called Ludovic Kennedy, who was a sort of writer and politician and a proper serious journalist. And they covered Doctor Who several times on that, but the most famous instance was when they came in on 1982, just as the Cybermen had been revealed as the villains of Earthshock. And so they did a sort of deep dive there on the monsters that you'd forgotten from the black and white days, from the dim black and white days that had only been 19 years earlier. So there's that. But there's also the theme days and nights that they do, such as the Lime Grove Day that they ran on the BBC in 1991. Now, this was all to do with the closure of the Lime Grove studio, wasn't it? This was where Doctor Who was originally filmed, if you remember, John. So all those earlier episodes, a famously, supposedly tiny studio, they finally closed it in 1991. And they aired the pilot episode of Doctor Who as part of this entire celebration day they kind of opened up the archives, really, and just had fun with it as they kissed goodbye to one of their own facilities. Only the BBC could create an entire theme day, say goodbye to one of their own studio show. Yeah. It seems wild now, doesn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, I guess growing up and just knowing what they're like, that's totally what they would do, isn't it? But that's wonderful. Like, this is the thing. I learn something different every time I do something like this. So I would have not known that any of this existed. But yeah, isn't that kind of wonderful in a way, in a certain kind of way? Love it. Love it all.
It's very quirky Britishness, isn't it? Like I say, only the BBC, only the British would dedicate a night of programming to a studio that everybody seems to hate. So
bang on, yeah.
That's the thing. Nobody's got a good word to say about it, did they, Adam? We've got Simon Anthony, who he seems like he worked there. He worked at the BBC for many years. It's just very odd place, Lime Grove, easy to get lost. But to give us an opportunity to see the pilot episode of Doctor Who on TV for the first time. By that, you see, up until not long before then, I don't think I knew that the pilot episode to Doctor Who had been shot or existed. So I remember this being screened. I thought I knew everything about Doctor Who. Oh no! This was a real curiosity. It was a real curiosity, and I've always been grateful to them for doing that at the very least. But things did evolve on BBC Two, and eventually they did entire sort of theme nights centered around all manner of things, sort of what we now call pop culture events, I suppose, specific shows or ideas or genres. Or entire writers like Dennis Potter. That was a thing. But it would be another few years before Doctor Who would have its time in the spotlight there. And when it did, it sort of created its own kind of mini legend, really. I think we've probably all seen this. So this is a kind of cute...
Oh, look at it.
Slightly scary BBC Two Dalek ident here from 1999.
That is the cutest thing I've ever seen. That is not scary at all, is it? If you saw that coming towards you, you'd be like, oh my god!
I love this to pieces. I mean, when I've done my show on my channel talking about idents and this has come up, I'm very unapologetic in saying, listen, you aren't going to get a bad review from me. You aren't going to get a critical review. It's Doctor Who and idents. Like this is perfect. This is cool. Just, what else can you say about it? I would love for them to do a model of this.
Yeah.
Oh. Yes. Do you know who created that? Does anyone know who created that? Because that is genius.
But I do know fellow Whovian, Captain Jimmy Pie on Twitter. I believe he has access to a 3D printer, and he has told me before now that he may or may not have made one of these.
It's funny you should say that. Stay tuned for
later watch in the this
show. So yes, this was initially a one-off ident. It was produced to celebrate the seasons of this entire night, of Doctor Who programming. There was lots of specially commissioned little things that got sort of dotted around here and there, but it was 50 centimetres high, a remote-controlled model, and it was shot in a bespoke set with a locked-off camera. A number of takes were filmed and then seamlessly composited together in post-production to make it seem like they'd got multiple of these things, but there was only one. And the original prop was eventually, it was auctioned off for children in need.
Oh, nice. That's
cool. I can't get over how cool that is. I wonder how much was it worth? Do you know how much it was auctioned for?
I have no idea. I think if anybody knows in the live chat, if you bought it, maybe you bought it.
Yes, if you did buy it, please get in touch.
Yeah, please. Oh my god. This is like when I saw that one at the post box or wherever we went down when I absolutely lost my shit over seeing a Dalek. Oh my god.
John?
Love it.
Yeah.
Sorry, John, go on.
No, so I was just saying these idents were part of BBC Two, and as soon as I saw things like this, straight away for me it just meant happy time, because I knew what was coming, and it was great.
You can't help but smile. Yeah,
I just shut myself away with a big smile on my face, and that was it. I was away. Bring it back.
If anything, this is the most fondly remembered aspect of that Doctor Who night from 1999. And they did carry on using it into that repeat season that you talked about, the curtailed repeat season, Adam. So it did get an extended life. And I think it came back several years later as well. I think it was used here and there for late night TV. I think it became its own legend. But on the day itself, it introduced lots of programming, such as a documentary that was called An Adventure in Time and Space, something like that. I don't know. And there were bespoke pieces to camera too by Tom Baker. There were comedy sketches too from David Williams, Mark Gatiss with Peter Davison. A couple of those have become quite notorious over the last 25 years, haven't they, John?
They have indeed, yeah. That one, I always love watching that one. If you haven't, check it out. It's great. You know, and that was before they got big, wasn't it? That was before they got really successful.
Yeah.
We all start somewhere.
Huge Doctor Who fans, obviously. Yeah, an Adventure in Space and Time. That was that's been used a couple of times. Variations on that. But the thing that has endured the most is definitely the Dalek ident itself. Let us know what you think in the live chat and the comments about that. We've got several demands for a character options figure already.
I would so buy it.
Yeah, please.
We
love
Telly idents. Says Tonya. I love Telly idents.
Good man,
Tony. Don't we all? Man. Don't we all?
Tony.
I mean, is that distinctly a British thing? I mean, idents like that, have they done that worldwide? Like in the US, did they do things like that?
Good question. I don't know.
Yeah,
I think different broadcasters across the world do employ idents. I think a lot more now they just have what's termed as stings, which can be similar to idents, but stings are often only like 3 or 4 seconds in length, just a quick flash of the logo, as it were.
Yeah.
I did do an episode, the 100th episode actually of the ident review show that I did. I covered 100 idents, which is an idea that I don't think I'll ever do again. But I wanted to do 100 idents from 100 different channels, and I took on some channels from abroad. And I think the art of idents is worldwide, but I definitely think the British, I think we not necessarily invented or coined it, but I think we developed a style that other people drew inspiration from. The fact it didn't just have to be a static logo on the screen; it could tell like a mini story or have character. And it always makes me sad when you see like a new channel get launched or like a channel has a revamp and their idents are just a static logo or a logo that barely moves or has just a few frames of animation. I think idents are honestly an art form, genuinely, I think. And I do think it's an art form that is being lost, sadly. But yeah, there are some channels that still maintain it. The BBC amongst them, I think, BBC 1 and 2, 3 as well, actually, 4 to some extent. But yeah, I think idents are a great part of television history and one that thankfully is replicated around corners of the world. But yeah, it's slowly dying out, which I think is a great shame.
We need one of those for Type 40, Dan, don't we? Type 40 ident.
I need one of those just for me.
We all want one. Right. We all want one.
Yeah. Come on, the demand is there.
It's there, man.
Yes. Back in 2013, BBC Two showed several Doctor Who related programs to tie into the 50th anniversary, including The Science of Doctor Who with Brian Cox. This was an entire documentary.
I have watched so much on BBC Two, I can't believe it.
This was a kind of televised lecture, if you remember, by Brian Cox, and scenes of Cox himself with Matt Smith in character as the 11th Doctor. They were sort of dotted through the piece as well. Do you remember that, Shaw?
Oh, so clearly, yeah. I remember grinning from ear to ear because obviously Matt Smith is my favourite anyway, and I love Brian Cox too. I've watched so many documentaries with him. So yeah, this was like a just complete clash of everything that I want, all muddled together. It was the best thing ever. That whole week was wonderful. That whole week was so good in the run-up. Just everything that you wanted as a Doctor Who fan, you got. It was I'm still gushing over it. Look what you can see. So yeah, really, really.
We ate good that week. We ate.
We did,
didn't we? And no one left a single crumb. It was incredible.
That 50th trailer, still to this day, I love to bits.
It was just hype petrol, wasn't it? It was like hype. Everything that was in there. Yeah. So supercharged. I'll go back and watch it.
Yeah, I remember coming home from lunch at work and I switched on the telly and I pressed the red button. I was thinking, what's this? Night of the Doctor? What? And I watched it, and then McGann turned up, and I was like, right, stuff that. I'm not going back to work now. I'm staying here.
I'm really ill.
Simon Anthony says some of the trailer idents took several days to make. I can believe that.
I can believe that.
There's a cool little clip on YouTube. I think it's called BBC Two, How They Did It or How They Made It. It's like a 5-minute clip from the 90s, and it sort of shows you behind the scenes of how they made some of the BBC Two idents of that time. If you remember the famous one where paint splatters over it, or the blue paint, it shows you how they did that. And dead simple, they just pour paint on it and flip the camera so it looks like it's coming in from the side. And honestly, if you're interested in this sort of thing, and hopefully it's not just me, but it is out there on YouTube, the behind the scenes of especially the idents that were made practically. A lot of them now obviously are made with CGI or animation, not all of them, but the ones that made practically that's the one. That's the money shot. So great ident.
Very creative idents on BBC Two back then. The BBC One just had the same sort of static one the entire time. It was a
which
bit,
is baffling,
bit low rent.
really.
It was strange, but again, it's kind of what you were saying though. It's BBC Two was still mostly considered an artsy channel then, so they did artsy things. They sort of did artsy things with it, I suppose. Staying with Brian Cox, but this is sort of the other Brian Cox. He was one of the cast members of An Adventure in Space and Time, the docudrama from 2013, just as you said there, Charles. This is a still very, very popular drama written by Mark Gatiss, first broadcast on BBC Two on the 21st of November 2013. Is it really that long ago? I suppose it must be, but Mike, the idea this is 11 years ago now just blows my mind. Every time we mention this, people go loopy in the live chat. They explode with memories. And at the time, this was the one that was pretty much on the down low because Day of the Doctor was in cinemas, and there was all the song and dance around it and the big glossy trailers, John. And then there was this, which reduced everybody to a gibbering wreck.
Yeah.
After about 90 minutes, didn't it?
I mean, I love the 50th, but this was it for me. For the special was great, but this won the 50th for me. I love this, and I couldn't wait to put it straight back on again after I watched it. I never get tired of it. I thought it was very well done, and that as Charles was saying about tears, that final shot where you've got Matt looking back at Hartnell, and it's just so beautifully done. So I'm going to stick it on after this.
I think I might as well.
It is. Yeah. It's that kind of thing where when you talk about it, you immediately need to see it. Again, Simon says this is utterly wonderful.
Well, I didn't know that Mark Gatiss, tried to pitch this 25 years prior. I think he wanted to do it for that's a big lie. He wanted to do it 25 years prior now, I believe, because he wanted to do it for the 40th. Oh, God, I can't even get numbers or maths right. He wanted to do it for the 40th. And tried to pitch it to the BBC at that time, and they were like, I don't think so. But what a mistake. But then again, I'm so lucky that I was born at this time because I get to experience all of that in this moment with an actor that I absolutely adore as well. So when I knew that he was playing William Hartnell and the First Doctor, it was incredible to me anyway. And then to see him paired with my favourite Doctor was the best. And I learned so much. And the funniest thing is that I'd actually just watched An Unearthly Child again because I wanted to sort of gear myself up, first episode and then go to a 50th anniversary, get all warm and fuzzy. And then this was on. I was working at the pub at the time, and I said, and I literally just said, because it was quite quiet, I went, "Can I just go home?" And they went, yeah, sure. So I'd watched that, came back home and watched, and then went straight onto this. It was a beautiful little tie-in. That whole week, I wish I could relive that 50th week all over again.
Our confessions are coming out tonight. Says me not going back to work. There's you trying to get out of work.
I know. They were like, "Oh, can you stay till 2?" No. But then no, because it was so quiet. It was planned to be a massive night at the pub, and it just wasn't. So I was like, "Can I go?" And when she said yes, I ran for my life, and I just started driving by that point as well. So thank God I had the car with me. But yeah, I love it.
Big night at the pub.
Yes.
It's so good, isn't it? And I mean, I think as well when I've rewatched it, and it's fascinating. Like, it's also really heartbreaking. Obviously with what William Hartnell the ailment he suffered with his arteriosclerosis. And the bit that always gets me, I think even more now as I get older, and this might sound really like, corny to say, but I think, as you do get older, you think, time's precious and the people you spend it with and what you're doing, what you love and stuff. And obviously it's well known he loved playing Doctor Who, at that time in his career, and sick of being a drill sergeant. This meant so much to him. And it's always that scene right before the end when he's at home over the fireplace and he's saying, I don't want to go. And obviously, yes, it's a bit of a tie into, David Tennant's last line, but that just hits different, man, because I can believe that William Hartnell probably didn't want to go if he wasn't that ill.
Yeah.
And
Definitely.
it's just heartbreaking, beautiful at the same time, like everyone said, but so heartbreaking that he had to.
I think the reason it took so long to get it commissioned as well was because when Mark Gatiss had originally spoken to people about it, he'd had the League of Gentlemen that was popular, and that was on BBC Two as well.
It was, yeah.
It wasn't. It was still a cult. It was still a cult hit, and he was one of several people. But by the time this happened, Gatiss and Stephen Moffat had hit huge internationally with Sherlock. And so I think that by that point, Gatiss could probably get pretty much anything commissioned within reason. Tony L says, I remember at the time there was a trend of this sort of drama documentary. There was a really good one about the making of Coronation Street. There was lots of good ones that came up on BBC Four, geared around TV shows and comedians.
Yeah,
loads of them.
There
That's
were
one of the
loads
reasons I
of
miss
this kind of
BBC
thing.
Four so much. Yeah, I lapped it all up, Shah. I did.
Yeah.
There was one called Core Blimey about the Carry On films.
Oh, but you did love that, eh? I
That's
know.
right up my street. Right up my street.
That is.
Stephanie Barrett says the ABC in Australia broadcast An Adventure in Space and Time along with the 50th special, so we all got to see and love it. It's good to know it travelled well. It travelled well.
Well deserved as well, yeah.
Reminds us that they re-edited, didn't they? They tinkered with it. How dare they? They tinkered with it for a repeat for the 60th anniversary. I think they dropped in Shooty instead of Matt. But as I understand, that was what Mark Gatiss always intended, wasn't it? That was his desire for it, to have that repeatability. So, I think if you're a Matt Smith fan, it might be a bit.
No, I absolutely love the idea. I think it's brilliant. Imagine that you can have all the Doctors in there if you really wanted to. I think that's wonderful. Keep it going. I wish I could have seen Peter Capaldi in it. Someone who was a massive Doctor Who fan, bring it in. I love it. Bring it all in.
Good point.
And
Tom Baker's in the
50th
live chat, John.
Yeah. Hey, Tom. How you doing?
Hi, guys.
Good
I
day.
never thought. I knew we'd get him eventually, but happy to have you here, Tom. Late night for you, mate. Late night. Goldilocks was a terrific conductor, says Simon Anthony. Simon, I've no idea what you're talking about, but as long as you're having fun in the live chat, I see there's lots and lots of comments here. People lamenting the 50th anniversary and still chuntering and moaning about the 60th. I don't think we can go there yet again. But I do understand. I sympathise, and for me, BBC Two is a channel that brought me. When I look back, it brought me a lot of the programmes that have actually stayed with me the longest, John.
To planet Earth tomorrow.
God, maybe jump.
Doctor Who, a legend in his own time, introducing a season of his most daring exploits, a retrospective study of the Time Lord in all his incarnations. Resistance is useless at 6:50, followed by episode 1 of The Time Meddler, tomorrow on 2.
They are to be exterminated. You understand?
Yes, another repeat season. Another repeat season here from 1992, Shah. And this is where, yet again, another TV channel, the BBC themselves, took the piss out of Doctor Who fans by introducing us to the Anorak, who was the narrator of the special clips documentary, Resistance is Useless. That ran for half an hour and led directly into the first of the repeat stories, which was the Time Meddler. This was very exciting as well. The idea was they were going to run a story of each Doctor, kind of like how they'd done with the Five Faces, which at that point had been 11 years earlier, but they would do just one episode a week. John, did you watch these?
Yeah, I did watch them, and again, just seeing the idents and whatnot, it's happy times. But when you look at it now and you think, when you talk about Doctor Who, is it being cancelled or not, which it's not, but you look at where it was then, and it was considered a joke to some people at the BBC, you know, and it wasn't as popular as it is now. They wouldn't even dream of doing something like that now. But you know, back then it was fair game, wasn't it?
It was fair game, and I suppose so were we. This was the first time I saw the Time Meddler when they repeated this on BBC Two in early 1992. It hadn't been available even on VHS. Never mind, we were years away from DVD. So whenever I look back and whenever I watch the Time Meddler again, I always think of the early 90s, Adam. That's strange, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, again, a lot of those repeats on BBC Two throughout the 90s, as we said earlier, some of the stories that got repeated had not been on VHS yet. So the only time they would have been seen was on broadcast, the Time Meddler chief among them. And I think they did quite, I don't know whether it was, you know, strategically planned that way, but I think they did quite well showing stories that weren't available on home media yet, because, you know, they did do that sometimes, you know, like, why would I watch Genesis of the Daleks across 6 weeks on BBC Two in the 90s when I could pop down to Woolworths and buy the VHS tape?
Oh, wow, that's a throwback.
Oh, I know. Good old Woolies. Used to get that from Woolies.
Memories.
But yeah, I think I totally get it. You know, I mean, a lot of my, obviously, like for people, I guess, like me and Shah, watching Doctor Who now, as in past Doctor Who, they don't necessarily air it on traditional telly, you know, but as they did back then. So we turned to the DVDs and the home media. But I totally understand what you're saying, Dan, about how some stories you just think of the early 90s, if that was the first experience when there was no other way to experience them.
It's certainly the case. Certainly the case for me. So whilst you could never say that Doctor Who has had a home on BBC Two, John, the connections are tenuous. They've been from a spectator's point of view, haven't they? It still does hold a place. Now, I thought it was worth blowing a kiss to BBC Two, and it would be remiss of me not to mention the fact that it was also the place where we got to see episodes of season 2 of Torchwood for the first time. That premiered, specifically season 2, premiered on BBC Two as well. So that travelled, didn't it? Yeah. So Torchwood started on BBC 3. Then moved to 2, and then moved to 1, and then and then vanished.
I remember the reason why as well, because people were complaining that they couldn't watch Torchwood properly because the BBC 3 logo was too invasive on the screen. Isn't that mad?
Yeah, it was. It was quite. Yeah, it was big back then. I never got to watch Torchwood until, I mean, I think I watched Children of Earth on BBC One when it aired, but series 1 and 2. I think my parents thought how old would I have been then? I would have been, well, anyway, my parents, I think, thought I was too young because they got wind that it was, you know, like Doctor Who in a way, but also very not like Doctor Who in a way. So I think they cottoned on to that. But by Children of Earth, I was... Yeah, they were, having watched it now, they were so correct. Episode 2, Sex Gas. Oh, yeah, I don't think that's suitable.
Oh, mate, yeah.
I don't think that's suitable for 10-year-olds.
Said about that, the better.
Do you remember, though, when they got the complaints from parents because kids wanted to watch it and they cut them down? Do you remember that, where they edited them to take out sex scenes and swearing? Yeah.
Oh, well, I missed out on that then. I think my parents they didn't believe the BBC. They were like, it's a lie. It's a lie.
Well, how old, when did it come out? Remind me, please, someone.
Well, this season would have been 2007, 2008, John?
Yeah, about that.
Right,
Torchwood started in 2006.
Yeah. So I would have been 10 when it started. So yeah, probably a bit too young for season 1. And probably, by the time Children of Earth, I was 13. So I think I was the right age then. And I think, having watched it all now, I still think Children of Earth personally is the best season of Torchwood that we got, in my opinion.
Oh, I agree. I do agree.
Yeah, I'd agree on that as well.
I'm just thinking of Sex Gas, and how it wouldn't at all surprise me if that was Shooter Gatwa's deodorant of choice.
After a twerking accident.
Yeah.
Oh, no, John, no, I'm not doing this again. I did it last night. I'm not getting into this conversation again. If anyone was watching the Sphere, whatnot.
Retro Doc's there somewhere.
Oh, my God. He's the one who started this whole thing.
So yes, happy 60th birthday to BBC Two.
Happy
birthday.
Now and again, home to some sort of Doctor Who programming. But think of all the great stuff that it has brought us, all that original stuff, such as Star Cops and Red Dwarf and The Young Ones, not the 9 o'clock news, all those. I used to watch repeats Well, repeats, I suppose. Were they repeats? Yeah, I suppose they class as repeats. Repeats of stuff like Laurel and Hardy and Harold Lloyd and King of the Rocket Men and all those old Republic serials. It was a home for not just old TV back then and old movies, but old serials as well. And I'll always be grateful to BBC Two for that at least. Let us know what your best, most golden memories of BBC Two are from whichever decade that you grew up as well. We're all ears for all of that. Let us know in the comments section. We've got some real confessions here. We'll be able to date everybody by what their memories of repeats are. UK Gold started the repeats in 1992 after BBC Two showings. They did indeed. Real super doc. They did indeed. I miss Woolworths.
Don't we all? Don't we all?
Don't know where that's come from, but fair play. Yeah, I think we all miss Woolworths to some extent or other. Why wouldn't we? Why wouldn't we? Yeah, I love the pick and mix, says Tom Baker.
Oh, yeah.
And not just Jelly Babies, you go for the whole thing.
It is Jelly Baby Day, lest we forget.
Well done, yeah.
Of course, on UK Gold, you got the adverts, don't you, which you didn't get on BBC Two. I don't know.
So many adverts, like more than YouTube. You know what I mean? Oh my god.
Yeah, tons of them.
Heretic says,
There's so many adverts on Access and Lifetime I can watch.
Listen to this, piss taker. I remember my mum watching. This is the Time Meddler in the 90s, and I had no idea it was Doctor Who. My God,
blimey!
I was. Yeah, I just started going in the pubs when they started. My God! And we have a channel in America that plays Doctor Who 24 hours a day. It says Holden 90.
We also have one, if you know of it. We also have one. I don't know if it's still the same. It was on the horror channel. If you have TiVo or Sky, they played classic constantly. Yeah.
Wow.
And it's only something I actually discovered about 2 months ago. So if you have it, I don't know what channel it is. It's somewhere near Babe Station. It's one of those ones that's like 100 channels down.
I love the first channel you draw to.
Some sort of crossover there.
Yeah, it says everything. Well, I was thinking about the sex guest, wasn't I? So that's what led me to it. But yeah, so you've got that, and Pluto. If you have Pluto at all, it's a free channel. Not many adverts on that, I don't think. They play Doctor Who quite regularly as well. That's the only bit of knowledge I can impart on you in this whole video. So yeah, I'm feeling quite happy with that.
It's all coming out on this edition of Type 40 Live, isn't it? How strange. So yes, keep those comments coming, everybody. I love Miracle Day, says Tom Baker.
Yeah, so it was too many episodes.
Yeah, far too many.
BBC Two, the snooker, says Real. Yes, we mentioned the snooker earlier on at the height in the 80s. That was Pluto TV is the name of the station in America. There, according to Holden 190, and yeah, various other people remembering lots of different repeats as well. The Green Death and Pyramids of Mars in 1994, again on BBC Two, before the Sunday Show with Dennis Pennis. Yeah, I remember all of that. Yeah. Come at us with more of your memories whenever you grew up of BBC Two, whether it was in colour or if you remember the black and white days, even, I don't know, and those various Doctor Who shows as well. Who's Doctor Who or the Doctor Who Night, 5 Faces of Doctor Who, or those 92 repeats. Let's get some of those memories, shaken loose, and hit us with them in the comments section as well. What else? Let's round off with this.
Go on then.
You're watching Type 40.
Oh, hang on. Yes, as ever, we are rounding things off with a wander, a glide through some pretty sights.
Yay.
Some of the best sights you could possibly feast your eyes on. All up on our view screen with our regular eye up your temporal schism in search of absolute gold and of blooms from out there in the fandom. So this is our eye on digital fan art as well as traditional fan art, craft and cosplay too. Whatever you've sent our way, we're going to get it up on the screen and give our honest opinions here. Now, if you're a fan artist or crafter of any kind, you'd like us to talk about your work or showcase it, then there's only one way to do that. You've got to let us know where we can find it. Send us a link to your website, your DeviantArt page, your Instagram account, anything like that, and we'll gladly sort of take your work, put it up on the view screen, and let the Whoniverse see the good stuff. That's how this works. First of all, we're in 2024, again, just a few weeks away from a brand new series of Doctor Who. And just last week, we had all those new photographs of the 15th Doctor in yet more new costumes. That's inspired this piece from Blue Box Artworks. And he's called this Alien Superstar.
Nice.
And it's quite where the lamp on the top of the TARDIS is disappearing to. That worries me a little, Adam, because there could be some singeing going on at some point.
Ooh,
Depends whether he's a
ow.
manscaper. Depends whether he's a manscaper or not, sure.
I wouldn't like to think or say, without being in possession of one, but sure.
Says 190. Yeah. So this is our still sort of newish Doctor there, John.
Yeah.
The beauty of modern fan art, digital art, is that they often have these really high-res images to work with, don't they? And I would imagine that some of it is illustrative. And people who work in the graphic arts can sort of angle for work by creating this sort of artwork and thinking, okay, BBC, if you want the next promo posters, if you want a new artist for them, maybe look at mine. I think that's what Blue Box Artworks is trying for here. This is Ollie who runs this account over on Twitter. Ollie sells their own range of badges and custom merchandise as well, which I really do applaud. I champion that every chance we get. But I do think this is quite a nice job they've made quite a ridiculous picture when you look at it on the surface.
It's great. They're talented individuals, aren't they? But I would say don't give us any more res. We've seen enough res the last few days. If we have any more res, I'm worried about what we'll end up seeing. So just keep it as it is.
Holden 190 says maybe it's a man's shirt tied around his waist. No, I'd say this absolutely does class as... Oh, no, I've seen the cut of it. See, I thought this was an actual skirt because of the slit going up the side, but that may... I don't think that counts. I think that's just a pleated skirt, not a kilt.
Jadoon skirt.
Yeah, a Jadoon skirt. A Jadoon skirt. The Jadoon did it first there, but yeah, fabulous piece of artwork there from Ollie at Blue Box Artworks, and he's open for commissions too. So head over there and please tell him that Type 40 Live sent you. Yeah. So
I
earlier on we talked about
gorgeous background.
You like the background? It is. It works really, really well. Yes, so earlier on we talked about that classic BBC Two ident, and people are asking for action figures of it now, even 25 years on. When a character going to give us that bespoke model, or maybe a set of bookends? That'd work pretty well, wouldn't it, Adam? You can imagine either end of your DVDs or Blu-rays. That'd be good. That would. And if you've been doubling up, it'd be even better because you'd have 2 for 2. But this one, so this has inspired Doctor Who artists, including Brick Pandorica, who has recreated the cute BBC Two ident. How else? Lego.
Oh my God!
Holy shitballs, that's good, isn't it?
Oh, that's cute.
Fabulous.
That's wicked.
I thought so too. This account again. This is an account on X. Fiercely creative. There doesn't seem to be anything that they can't do, and we've got the full turnaround here.
Yeah. Look at that! Even the eye stalk.
That is awesome, isn't it? That's
Props
wicked.
to Brick Pandorica, man. Well done. Well done.
I wonder how long that took.
I'd hate to
Just
think.
Yeah, that's so amazing. I love that.
Well,
I wish I was this kind of creative.
I have now. So.
How do you think this works? I mean, can you sort of send off via mail order now from Lego.com? Say, okay, I need a few more grey spots, because you can't go and buy 100 kits just to get the odd bit of piece you might need, John.
I bet with the amount of stuff that Lego has, I bet you could not individually, but I bet you could order certain sets that you could make into that because of just how much Lego it has.
I think Lego has a program. Yeah, they have a program, don't they? I swear you can submit ideas, and if they get a certain amount of traction, Lego consider. So basically, what we need to do is write to Lego and be like, "Listen, hear me out. Please don't slam the door. Just listen to me." So it starts with a 2, and No, this is great. Really cool. Really like that.
It'd shift some units, it would.
Well, maybe-
Wow, says
so.
Tony
Oh,
L.
yeah.
And look at the detail, says Holden
I know,
190.
Yeah.
Let's just look. They've said that they can't do like those special mini-sodes for the new box sets. Let's just get them doing these sort of idents for the box sets instead.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, yes,
my
I'm up for
God.
that,
Yes,
yeah.
John. That's a great
Start a
idea.
campaign.
Russell
Fantastic.
Hinton, please. I
Do
beg
it.
you. I beg you, please.
Absolutely fantastic stuff. Staying with the BBC Two ident, you mentioned him earlier on, didn't you, Adam? So this is Captain Jim Pie. Who is Captain Jim Pie exactly?
So he's a fellow YouTuber. He makes all kinds of videos around Doctor Who, like unboxings of the character options figures that we've talked about, amongst other things. But really talented guy. And as I mentioned, I'm certain he has access to a 3D printer, which as a technology still amaze and scare me a little bit with what you can make with a 3D printer. And yeah, he did mention about potentially making a replica of this particular ident, which would be, oh my God, there it is. Look at that in all the color schemes. Yes, Jimmy. Oh
Brilliant.
God, man.
That's really
Look at all
delivered on this.
those.
You
Look
don't
at
just get
those.
one, and you don't get two. You get five various liveries.
Spoiled.
You even get a new series, Dalek.
I know.
Yeah.
And this is so sad. You know, the one, like the Cushing movie Dalek, the second one from the left?
Yeah.
It's the fact that the base is rounded at the front. You're just like the movie Dalek. That's I know that's a really sad detail, but that just...
There's
No, it's a good eye.
Paradigm Dalek. If you look at the Paradigm Dalek as well, there's all these little touches.
Yeah. Honestly, Jimmy, mate, if you're listening, fantastic work. Like you've
That's
just
incredible.
you smashed it. And if
Collect
you're
them
ever
all,
making
says
more of
one.
these, I will give you whatever you want. So, frankly. So
Sold.
I can't wait to get my new
Sold.
shelves up at my new place.
I
You
know,
in London.
honestly.
To the man in the natty jumper, Captain Jim Pie, you've sold at least 5 of these. Collect them all, suggests
Like Pokemon.
Literally.
Sarah says that Daleks have never looked this cute.
They haven't.
So
That's
cute.
adorable. That's
So cute.
adorable.
I want the
Pick
black
your
one
favourite
more.
colour.
Yeah, the
that's
original.
what looks great.
Yeah, that is incredible.
Yeah.
I love it.
The vintage, the proper one, but I do like them all. Yeah,
Yeah, I do, yeah.
The one from the Dead Planet, my God. Yay, that's brilliant, says Tony L. We've just got a heart-faced emoji from De Morpin.
So you need, isn't it? Ready
Gorgeous.
sometimes.
Yeah, they are gorgeous.
People are well sold on this.
Yeah.
And why wouldn't they be? Incredible craftsmanship and 3D printing. Yeah, I'm the same as you, Adam. It does blow me away. That hasn't been where Captain Jim Pie has stopped, though. Earlier on, Shah, you mentioned a post box. What was that?
I did.
You mentioned a post box. It's at least two drinks ago. I tell you what I think you mentioned. I think you mentioned this. So this was an ident again on the CBBC channel back in the noughties.
Oh my
this was one of the
God,
animations.
that's a memory unlocked. Christ.
Yeah.
Oh my
Wow,
God.
I forgot that even. Yeah, I did not know. That was in the recess of my memory. Wow.
God.
So if you ever watch the Sarah Jane Adventures on First Transmission or MI High, then odds are you saw this animated ident there. It looks like one of the streets of Cardiff where they would film Doctor Who around that time. And if you notice,
I
there
feel
was
like a
lots of
kid.
traditional black and red post boxes there, but they look slightly different, John, because they've got eye stalks and plungers and all the rest of it.
Something not quite right.
Yeah. Good luck getting your place to them.
I love how one's fallen over. The one on the left, like what's happened there?
I think the idea is he's hit the curb.
Just come out the
Adam.
pub.
He's hit the curb.
Step into the best of us.
He's hit the
Oh, yeah.
curb. Yes, and this is the kind of thing, I suppose, for people of your generation who will have been children at the time. As you say, it's unlocking those dormant memories, Sean.
Yes.
Captain Jim Pie
100%.
has recognised that you may have a similar want and created this.
Oh my God.
Again, through the magic of 3D printing, courtesy again of Captain Jimmy Pie.
Oh wow.
These people are so clever.
Aren't they just so smart? Wow, how do you? I didn't even remember it until it was brought up. How do you think? Fair. I've got no words. That's brilliant.
There's probably
Incredible, isn't
someone
it?
online though looking at that and going, "I just want to check the sign to see if it's the actual correct postage."
Yeah, yeah. Always nitpicking. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mark
Well,
Milford
I mean-
reminds us that fans are doing the best work, Adam.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Fully
just
believe
look at
in that.
this. Look at this.
Yeah.
The BBC would never do this. I mean, again, fair enough. Why would the BBC do this? But I mean, that's fantastic. And Jimmy, mate, I stand by what I said. My wallet is still open and available to you. You can have whatever you want.
I've
no, that's
honestly-
fantastic.
I've never seen something so British in my life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that
That is so
screams
true.
Britain, doesn't it?
Adam's wallet is open so much he's no longer going to Eurovision.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we've sacked that off. Sorry, I've sold it all back because I need to give it all to Jimmy for these.
And people
I
seem
need to
just as
take
taken
two with
it
me to
online.
Sweden.
You do, yeah. Smuggle.
do,
You'd have to
yeah.
be careful. You'd have to be careful where you smuggle it. People may
Well,
look at you funny.
yeah.
Ouch.
May look at you funny.
Yeah,
Yeah,
all those bumps. Yeah, that'd be. Quite...
yeah. You could have an accident.
Oh.
But yes, that is the post box Dalek for all you naughties kids. I said naughties kids, not naughty kids. Although that does apply.
Same
both
thing.
apply. Both applies to
Yeah.
you, doesn't it, Shah? We know this. We already know this.
How dare you?
So yes, that is fan art, fabulous fan art. Whether it's in model form, 3D printed, so digital or traditional, whether it's crafty or cosplay, we're all eyes. We want to see it up here on the view screen. So let us know where we can find you. Send us your details there in the comment section here, or reach out to us through our social media, Instagram and X at Type40 Doctor Who. There, Missy is very insistent that you do this. Or you can cut out the middleman and get them to us that a little bit quicker if you join the Type40 Facebook group. Now, I'm not saying that all 4 of these guys are members of the Type40 Facebook group, but there's only one way to find out for certain, and that is to join and to get stuck in, to get commenting, to get sharing as we all count down the weeks to another series of Doctor Who, the first all-new series of Doctor Who. We're also, this is the other thing as well, brand new community as well, John. This is over on X, isn't it? This is the Type40 Doctor Who community on X. So how do people join that?
Just literally click on the link that we've put on the Facebook page, go to the Type40 Twitter and X account, and you'll find a link to the community group. It's open to everybody. Everyone's welcome. Jump in and enjoy the fun and the chats. And I think you're going to be putting stuff in there as well, aren't you, Dan? Every now and again about shows upcoming and
Absolutely. So we'll gradually work it into the cycle. So there'll be stuff in there. There'll be stuff shared in there that won't get shared anywhere else as well, simply out of convenience. And there may be some exclusive stuff that goes into the Type40 community on X as well. So if you have an account or you're thinking about signing up, then go and look for us. Go and look for Type40 Live and share your thoughts on the podcasts and the live streams and everything else, all the other nonsense that we come out with here on the weekly, twice weekly sometimes, very much depending on what is in the air and what's on our plates. Adam, it's been fantastic to have you back, mate. I hope it's not so long next time.
I know. I mean, again, thank you so much for having me back. It's been a joy. It's always a joy coming on Type40 and to chat
thank
Doctor
you.
Who with you all. So yeah, and anytime you want me, just shoot me a message, and provided I'm free, I will be here.
As a reminder, though, for the people who may not have seen, you've got a couple of YouTube channels, haven't you? So what do you talk about on there, and where else can people find you? Which social medias do you do?
Sure. So social media wise, the main one is probably Twitter, or X, as I'm begrudgingly coming round to calling it, as we all do. I still call it Twitter. But it's at Adam Martyn AMTV if you want to give me a follow there. On YouTube, you're right, I do have a couple of channels. I do have a Doctor Who centric one, AMTV Who, for all kinds of Doctor Who stuff, unboxings, reviews of stuff, episodes, home media releases, some other kinds of videos as well. If you like Now That's What I Call Music, specifically, very niche, I know.
Ooh,
I have well, exactly. I have AMTV Now, which is just sort of looking at the releases of that, some of the history, and on the main channel, which is just my name, Adam Martyn, with a Y. I feel like I have to say that, with a Y for my Welsh brethren out there. It's with a Y, not an I. And so yeah, that's my main channel. I do at the minute mainly talking about like the state of like the current television landscape, also delving into television history, just sort of media history, really. It's not limited to just television. I've done one of the big hitters, surprisingly, on my channel recently, I talked about the famous band episode of the Tweenies of all things, which seems to have done really well. If you ever want to see one of the Tweenies waving a knife around, then there you go.
I know exactly which one you're talking about.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do.
Is it called Milo Gets an Asbo?
Yeah.
It's surprisingly not Milo, it's Jake of all of them.
Jake, of course it's Jake, yeah.
Mr. Tumble himself, which I forgot.
Yeah.
Justin Fletcher voiced Jake in the Tweenies. Yeah, I know, it's crazy.
Wow.
But yeah, all sorts of like TV oddities, really. So if you like that, then if you like what we've been talking about with like BBC Two, then come on over and have a watch. And that's where you can find me, really.
This is the thing. I watch your videos all the time. There's lots of curiosities like that, but you do the mainstream stuff as well. So it's a really nice mix. And in my view, it's the best kind of coverage that you can get of that kind of material literally anywhere. And even the Now album stuff as well. I haven't bought a Now album for years. When I watch one of your videos, I feel like I should go to the car boots and just buy them all up, John. Forget how much I love them, you know?
Yeah.
It's a slippery slope, guys. Don't do it. Don't do it.
As always, Shah, great to have you on the show. Always a bundle of laughs.
Yeah, usually at my expense, but that's cool. I love being on here, and I've really missed it. So you've got me 2 weeks on the trot, Dan. So I'm more than happy. And yeah, just like Adam said as well. But if you want me, I'm totally here. Just not when I'm moving. But apart from that, I'm here. And I've loved being back. And thank you so much, by the way. Sorry, but everyone was so welcoming to me coming back after a couple of months hiatus, which I just want to say thank you. That was really kind of made me feel a bit warm and fuzzy. So yeah, thank you for that. And sorry about the audio. I know it's been a bit shocking, but it's great seeing chat. Awesome, thank you so much. Bless you.
So excited you can't even be bothered to complete your name there in the live chat on YouTube with Holden 190. Yeah, it's been very much like that, and people can get the Shah experience, can't they? In real life, pretty soon, in the nicest possible way, on stage. Not like that. There's no cards and phone boxes involved. This is Shah on stage with a microphone, and what you're doing and where you do it. What we mean? Oh yeah, you're the one who wanted to talk about it.
Yeah, I know, but I completely messed it up last time. But on the 25th of May, I'm going to be at MCM with the Geek community with a panel. I think it's about 6 wonderful people that are really well into their Doctor Who knowledge, as am I. So yeah, it's going to be a really nice get together of just fans having a good old chat. And yeah, so at the Fringe stage, 4:15, 25th of May, Excel Centre. Yeah. I don't think I botched it that time. Wicked. I'm well laughing. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
You'll knock it out. You'll do great.
There'll be a link.
Oh,
there'll be a link in the description just in case she's laced it up. And you can find a link to Adam's channel in the description to the video as well as a link to contribute to Christopher Eccleston's fundraising for the big issue too. Yeah. He ran the marathon at the weekend. So if you want to chip into that worthy cause and the Ninth Doctor's latest heroic mission, then you can do so. Check out the description to the video. John, thank you again for your company and your help with running the poll. It was very much your idea. We ran with it, and I think it worked, didn't it? People seem to like it.
Yeah, it did. It got a lot of engagement, which is great. And yeah, we'll do more of them. But it's been lovely to be on with Adam and Shah tonight. It's been a laugh. It's been great fun. Yeah.
And your cat as well. I like your cat.
Oh yeah. Well, she was looking at me a minute ago, and I didn't know whether she was going to be a diva and put her leg in a weird position, or whether she was going to attack me.
I love cats, so I'm all for it.
An appearance. Join us again on Type 40 Live in just a couple of days' time on Thursday. Same space, same time. For more rattling and rambling, ranting and raving through space and time. It's the 150th edition of Type 40 Live 2, so don't miss it. There's already a lot to talk about. It's going to be pretty explosive, I think. Amazing. So yeah, again, thank you everybody on the panel. Thank you for the comments too. So between now and Thursday, I'm going to be running around. I'm going to run around all these various ramps in the TARDIS and see if I can wear myself out whilst keeping an eye on what's going on. We'll see you on Thursday. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.
See ya.